BF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester, an Odyssey sports station.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Gene's a big timer, a social misfit. Clueless to the title of the biggest buskeg hits. Chuck Muncie's goons have the last say. So thanks for your time, Mr. Mayo. Danger likes his cold ones and he likes his bears. But this is Rochester, cute Francesa.
Oh, who cares?
He's critical of Sean, he's critical of Al. And of course he married Sandy, cause she's Italian. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
Victory Monday in the sports bar, but you know what, Gino? It's like I feel like I'm suffering from a football hangover today. Are you feeling like I'm feeling? I mean, I know everybody is in good spirits.
Honestly, absolutely not. You're saying hangover. I'm like, let's go. It was fantastic last night. When I get home, I'm like, wow, even this game last night, Cincinnati, the Chargers. I don't know what you mean by hangover. I want more, dude.
Yeah, I know.
I'm on a bender. You're on a hangover.
Well, maybe part of it is we're going into the bye week now. It's like, oh.
Well, we're tempering that by getting together on Friday.
That's right. This Friday is going to be special in the sports bar because we take the show on the road, as we like to do from time to time. Our home away from home, Three Heads Brewing on Atlantic Avenue in the neighborhood of the arts. It's another Friday Football Talk Live, and we'll just get to kick our feet up, enjoy some IPAs, talk some Bills football, talk some Nighthawks lacrosse.
Yeah, because the Nighthawks are going to do their Meet the Nighthawk event, so some of the players will be by. If you're a Nighthawk fan, it's a good way to kick off their season, which will be beginning over Thanksgiving week. And it's a great way to kick off the Thanksgiving week, Danger. This is great. They're 9-2.
You know what today is? It's a Victory Monday in the sports bar. So we kick back and we enjoy 9-2 heading into the bye week with Bruno Martino.
Roma non fa la stupida stasera. Dammi una mano a fare di desì.
No, I was off last week for part of the week. You told me Perino didn't like this. Perino thought this was weird.
It was
his last name ends in a vowel. Did we remind him that?
No. Last week, just to kind of how time flies, it was Veterans Day last Monday, so company holiday, and we were lucky enough to have it off. So we came back on Tuesday. Well, we don't want to deprive ourselves of Victory Monday, so we're playing this. Perino didn't get it. Totally didn't get it. He's like, this is weird. Said that right on the air.
He needs to get with the program.
Yeah, he does.
Especially with a guy whose last name ends in a vowel. Get with the program, Perino.
I had to explain to Matt and anybody that might be jumping in, because I'm cognizant, Danger, that sometimes our show is a little inside.
Oh, it's a little inside? Just a little.
Just a lot inside. So, like, hey, listen, if you have any questions, like, hey, how did the whole this start or that start? It was just, well, how the Italian music started was it's the Monday after the Bills beat the Cardinals. Mike Danger is a wizard on the board. He is doing everything. We don't have a producer, right? So the sound effects, that's Danger. Screen calls, me. Danger on the board running things. He never hits a wrong button. But you could say you hit a right button that time because you hit something from the Joe Capogreco Italian carousel.
I don't know why, but you brought up Bruno Mars or something. I think that's what it was. And I was trying to pull up some Bruno Mars or something that was going on. And instead of Bruno Mars, we landed on Bruno Martino.
This is so good, even I can hit the post. Bills fans, just sit back, relax, and enjoy, because this is the mood on a Victory Monday here in the Sports Bar.
Roma non fa la stupida stasera.
Oh, and we'll get to what's going on in the Meadowlands. Don't you worry.
Oh, no.
We're gonna. I know you guys. If you're into the sports bar, if you get some of the inside jokes, then you know what's coming. You're ready for it.
Can I just wonder, did actually Fox get involved? Hey, nobody wants to watch Daniel Jones on Thanksgiving Day.
I don't know if they made my Thanksgiving more or less enjoyable. I might just book tickets to see Gladiator 2 in the late window instead of watching Cooper Rush versus the New York Giants. But we'll wrap up Week 11 tonight with the Texans and the Cowboys before we can start looking ahead to Thanksgiving. And yes, the Buffalo Bills get the win against the Chiefs, knocking them from the ranks of the undefeated. And, man, what a great win for the Buffalo Bills. We will talk plenty of Bills-Chiefs today with 13 Wham Sports and Buffalo Plus. Mike Catalana stopping by here in about 20 minutes or so.
Mike's thoughts here on what met yesterday.
I love how you're just saying what a great job I do on the board, and I forget to turn your mic back on as you're screening a call. That's on me. Flip the sign. We have 0 days since our last incident.
Well, we still have like duct tape here in the studio. Like it's like we're like 90% complete. It would be nice to have a button that. Anyhow.
Oh, sorry. Okay, you were saying.
Anyhow, Catalana was out there yesterday. Bills at 9-2. The race for the 1 seed is legitimate. We called like 4 weeks ago the AFC East. And now the Bills at 9-2, the Chiefs at 9-1. Still, according to the analytics, Kansas City with a 53% chance to earn the top seed.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that is holding Buffalo back is this tough schedule ahead. All right, yes, you beat the Chiefs, but now you get the Niners, who admittedly are not playing Niner-like football, the Lions, who could be a Super Bowl team, and you get the Rams in between, who, all right, they're okay too. We'll talk to 13 Wham and Buffalo Plus's Mike Catalana at bottom of the hour.
And our friend / nemesis from 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City, Jay Binkley, stops by at 425.
Binkley's texting me during the game, like, why is McDermott challenging this? He's bad at challenges. Like that, yeah, that's Jay for you. I can almost tell you what Jay is going to say, right? Spoiler alert, fellas. Yeah, it's good. We know Buffalo's tough, but when we meet again coming January, the Chiefs will have Pacheco back, and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes will have things figured out. I'd ask Jay this question. Have you, during this golden era of Chiefs football, had an offensive line that is this bad? I don't know if that's fixable, Danger. Like, the Bills are getting off the ball. We could give Sean McDermott and Bobby Babich and the defensive line credit on all that, but my goodness, that was the concern we heard from Alex Gold. The tackles just aren't really that good. Is there anything the Chiefs can go get here, perhaps? Are there any options? Jay Binkley from 96.5, The Fan in Kansas City in the 4 o'clock hour.
We'll take your calls throughout the course of the afternoon, 866-4FAN. If you want to join us, 585-866-4326. Also on X, that's Elon's Twitter, at The Fan Rochester. And we appreciate you listening in the free-to-download Odyssey app, and also our YouTube stream on our YouTube channel at The Fan Rochester, streaming on Twitch at The Fan Rochester. Like and subscribe while you're there. So the Bills get over on Kansas City, and it was really Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Allen taking matters into his own hands when he needed to, but bigger than that, Sean McDermott is starting to believe.
Sean McDermott, and I think our buddy Jeremy White said that, like, people, it's an aggressive play. It's the smart play. 4th and 2 is not really all that aggressive, but McDermott with the wherewithal, okay, you're going to go out and kick the field goal, and then what could happen next there? Sean McDermott saying, all right, here's the quarterback. And Danger, when they're drawing this up, didn't you know exactly what they were going to do? Put the ball in Josh's hands. He's not going to throw it. They're not handing off to Ty Johnson in that situation. They're not checking down even to Shakir. It's Josh Allen. And the idea that Josh Allen, once he got in the open field, it reminded me of that run against the Steelers in the postseason last year. Like, wow, this guy really is special. That was I am the MVP of this league type of play yesterday. And to be in that stadium, if you were lucky enough to be in that stadium yesterday, wow. It was as loud as I can remember for a play like that. So, yes, to your point, Sean McDermott starting to believe, yeah, he's starting to figure this out too.
You know, we mapped it out during the week and felt strongly that that was the right decision. You know, I don't want to be resulting, if you will, but would have stood by it if it didn't work out. Just felt like, you know, there's been too many games, as you guys know, where Andy and Patrick have come back and you kick a field goal and they go score a touchdown, or it's overtime, you know, just in different games where they've been and they get the ball first and the game's, you know, so they're just way too good to not go for it right there. And, you know, so every situation's a little bit different, but felt confident.
He's starting to believe. He's starting to, you know, have the kind of trust that you want your head coach and your quarterback to have. When you see head coaches and quarterbacks with the kind of longevity that Allen and McDermott have now, it eventually leads to Super Bowl championships. And I think last year at this time, we were kind of scratching our head wondering, is McDermott the guy? You know, look, there are still mistakes. It's not perfect. And I think he's becoming a little bit more self-aware, I think, in realizing, like, yeah, that's not what we want to do there. That's on me. We've heard him say, that's on me, right? He's taken a little bit more personal accountability.
You just go back 2 years ago, 2 seasons ago. Like, there wasn't a that's on me after 13 seconds. There was none of that. So can a coach grow? Maybe that's what we're seeing here. So
I love that he recognized in that moment, hey, yeah, the Chiefs will score on us. We've seen them do this. If we give them time and we only lead by 5, they've got enough. They will score on us. That's a recognition and a self-awareness that I think was missing from him, or it has felt like it's been missing from him in a while. So the outcome was fantastic. Of course, we'll be having a different conversation if the play blows up, but you've got now this confidence and this level of trust between head coach and offensive coordinator and quarterback where you feel like they can't miss on those plays. And for Josh Allen to read and assess in the moment the way he did, we've always been critical of the decision-making. Can Josh make the right decision? Can he make the right decision with the football, not put it in harm's way? A lot's been made throughout the course of the season about how well he's protected the football. But I think also in the moment, knowing, hey, this is what they're giving me, and this is my outlet. This is my, you know, it's my check down maybe is to run the ball and not to just throw it into the flat. Recognizing that in the moment, knowing, and I think part of this is also against the Chiefs specifically, having seen Spagnuolo's defense now as often as he has. Hey, it took maybe a little bit longer than we'd like, and we still have to see it in the postseason, but he kind of has it figured out. I think he knows what he's looking at.
No, we saw in the postseason, they put up 38 points against him. Like, he played almost a perfect game, that game where Gabe Davis caught 4 touchdowns. But to your point, Josh Allen this year, and look, I want somebody that's smart when it comes to the all-22 on that play, looking at it in real time. And the one video seems to me the one interception that was maybe Dawson Knox not releasing like where Josh thought he would, but that's a communication thing I thought that happened on that one pick. But will Josh Allen win the MVP now? I think it's a fair conversation. Leading off today, 866-4FAN, 866-4326, Luke in Rochester. Luke, welcome. How are you?
Hey, guys, I told you the Bills would pancake them. I'm still not happy that they didn't blow them out, especially since Chiefs have no realistic offense aside from their tackles. And Kelsey showed his age, and he's not 2 catches for 8 yards. And he's not the safety blanket that popped up Mahomes all these years. And the charade that Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league has to fall asunder. Allen is the best quarterback and has been for the past few years. You can ask Mike Catalana when he's on who he would choose of the two.
Thanks, Luke. Are we going to ask Mike Catalana who he would choose of the two?
No, I appreciate everybody that calls and listens, but you're upset because the Bills didn't pancake Kansas City.
They won by 2 scores. I'll take it.
They won by 2 scores. Kansas City's 9-0. They're the defending champs twice over. Like, what more do you want? Can you just be satisfied? Are you kidding?
Thanks for calling, Luke. Appreciate that. Mike Catalano will join us. I don't know if we're going to ask him if he'd prefer to have Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes, because I think if you ask that question, you have to say, well, Patrick Mahomes has rings. Josh Allen is working towards that.
I think, Luke, the Kelsey point you brought up was interesting. I don't know if Kelsey's washed, if that was by design, but here's what I can tell you. That was a weird game for Xavier Worthy, was it not? Xavier Worthy, all right, the one drive, okay, maybe this is Andy Reid proving a point. Maybe the kid is actually good. And then he has the wide open play on the left sideline, and then it's almost like he lost the trust of Mahomes, or maybe Xavier Worthy checked out.
The thing that's funny with the Chiefs' offense right now, and this is something we can talk to Binkley about with the Chiefs moving forward. I know that they will say we don't have Rashee Rice, we don't have Pacheco, we don't have Hollywood Brown. I would say that right now Andy Reid has too many weapons, and they're trying to use everybody instead of finding somebody that they can actually trust. 2 catches for 8 yards between Kelsey and Kareem Hunt. You had the big quarter by Worthy. They completed passes to 11 different receivers yesterday against the Bills. But you only had one player, Worthy, who broke 30 receiving yards. So, in a weird way, it's almost like they have too many weapons, and they're trying, they don't have one person that they can trust. And Kelsey, on that last play, he gave up on the play, right? I mean, like, he basically quit on the play when Bernard gets the game-sealing interception.
Yeah, I would just say maybe this is one of the adjustments they will make, and they will find, they will make adjustments. They're well coached for sure. And if you just took the Hopkins, Kelsey, bring back Pacheco, can you coach up Worthy just a little bit and just kind of narrow it to that? Oh, and then every once in a while, the second tight end that, got the Bills for a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned the offensive line. Tackle play was terrible. The defense didn't get enough stops. And in the last couple of weeks for the Chiefs defense, the game has been in the balance. I mean, they needed a blocked field goal to beat the Broncos last week, and they couldn't get enough stops against the Bills this week. There are plenty of flaws right now in Kansas City's game. There's plenty of reason to believe that they'll stumble down the stretch here and give up a game or two, which is why I like the idea of the Bills being in play for that 1 seed. They could still get that 1 seed, even though right now they're a game behind. With that tiebreaker, technically, that it's more like a half game. Just let them stumble a game.
If the Bills and the Chiefs are dead even heading into the week, what would that be? Week 16, where the Bills finish up with Patriots, Jets, Patriots. I thought, Danger, at the beginning of the year, that's going to be what's going to be able to get you into the postseason.
Yeah. Now
that's what's going to get you the 1 seed here. Yeah, one of those weapons, DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, that is going to be an addition. But one of my favorite plays, not just yesterday, all season, like Christian Benford just out-muscling DeAndre Hopkins and knocking that ball out. You think it's a completion, and then it's not. Yeah, the Bills have a true corner one. And if you're looking for differences that between last year's playoff loss to Kansas City and this year, well, you have Terrell Bernard and Christian Benford out there. That would be a good start. And I know when Binkley comes on, well, we didn't have Rice, we didn't have Pacheco. Blah, blah. Okay, I don't know to what degree Matt Milano is going to be there, but he's going to be available next time, as will Dalton Kincaid, and it's will Spencer Brown, as will Keon Coleman. Yeah, the Bills are short-handed too.
Right. Yeah, they'll look different. So will the Bills. And when they do meet up again, and I think they will meet up again in the postseason, we'll have to see who makes the plays on that day. Yesterday, it was Josh Allen. It was Josh Allen. It was McDermott being aggressive, and it was Josh Allen making the plays that his team needed him to make, making the right decisions that we didn't see him make last year in the postseason. A lot of people will talk about the missed Tyler Bass field goal. I don't talk about the missed Tyler Bass field goal. I talk about the decisions that were made by the quarterback that led to you going for that field goal that probably would have resulted in you losing the game anyways.
Or the head coach not getting the message through to the quarterback saying this is what we need to do here. So
yes, so it's an encouraging day. And to answer your question, Gene, yeah, I think we can be satisfied. I think we can be satisfied with a team that's 9-2 going into their bye in full control of the division. And at minimum, you've got a team that most likely won't have to face the two teams that have beat them so far this year on the road in the postseason.
That's a benefit. And I'm still sticking by because I know Baltimore lost yesterday, and that was one of those weird games. I saw bits and pieces of it. Baltimore still feels like just right there with Kansas City. I'm not going to say that the Chiefs are that far ahead of the – that's the one thing I learned yesterday. Even though the Chiefs are 9-1, the Bills are 9-2, it's not like Kansas City is that far ahead of everybody else. They're certainly not.
And in a way, we talk a little bit about the Sunday night game. Part of my football hangover is that I stayed up late. East Coast dads today struggling. I mean, you stay up late for that game because you think, oh my God, the Chargers are charging again in prime time.
It's one of those, if you were coming home last night, that didn't get any traffic last night. I think everybody got out of there soon. By the time I got home, it was the fourth quarter last night. And it I don't know, I'm sure other teams wouldn't say this, but at least it's comforting to know that Buffalo isn't the only team that has place kicker issues. This really looks like, oh my gosh, this is not the same Justin Tucker. Evan McPherson was always a money guy, and he's missing kicks in the dome yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, if you are concerned about Tyler Bass, I'll listen to that. He missed an extra point yesterday, but when you look around the league, multiple kicks missed by Tucker, by Jake Elliott, by McPherson. I mean, these are all big brand name kickers that are getting paid a lot of money, and they're missing multiple kicks.
Phil Dawson missing 3 kicks for Cleveland, although that's not really a team you're paying attention to. He's considered a good take. Wasn't Phil Dawson, forgive me. Hopkins.
I was going to say Phil Dawson, man.
Yeah, that was a throwback.
That's the guy that had the sweet-ass single bar face mask.
Mark Mosley.
Phil... What was the guy's name from Phil Dawson?
Phil Dawson.
Phil Dawson was the last of a dying breed. You remember that, right?
No, I think it was Matt Barr, right? Matt Barr was the single face.
Well, a bunch of them had, but Phil Dawson, as a football player, looked super sweet with that single bar face mask as a kicker. That is a throwback.
No.
Show me.
You're thinking of somebody else. Like, you Google him. You're thinking Phil Dawson is not.
I'm going to find an image of Phil Dawson with the single bar, Gino.
And then you're going to, you want to double down on the box of wine?
No, I'm not doubling down on the box of wine. Mike Catalana, 13 Wham Sports, BuffaloPlus.com. We'll talk a little bit about that Bills-Chiefs win from yesterday. Look ahead to the rest of the season here. Bye week now for the Buffalo Bills. And at 9-2, they're sitting pretty and in play for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Mike Catalana next on the Fan Rochester.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
Welcome back to We the Hobby. You know what time it is? A little something special today. Oh, Nick. Is that a corn? That ain't no corn. What? That's a super corn! Oh, wow!
Visit us at 23 Arlington Street in Rochester.
If your fridge has better game day snacks than you have sports knowledge, it's time for an upgrade. Tell your smart speaker to play 95.7 The Fan and let your appliances know who's the real MVP. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
9-2 after the win over Kansas City. Last time the Bills were at this spot in terms of a record, the year was 1992. Terrell Bernard with the game-sealing interception yesterday. Bernard on going into the bye.
I think it gives us an opportunity to go back and correct some things after a win, which is always good. And then, physically kind of take a breath, get your legs back underneath you, get some things cleaned up. Just physically get away from it for a little bit, which is good at this time of the year.
We will talk to 13 Wham and Buffalo Plus's Mike Catalana coming up next here in the Sports Bar. Week 11 concluding tonight. It's the Cowboys and Texans on Monday Night Football. Devin Levi is an Amherst. The Sabres send him down. Going up to Buffalo is Isak Rose, and the Amherst playing at Laval coming up on Wednesday. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
Neat or on the rocks? It's the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
It's a 4th and 2. Allen going to step up in the pocket. Now he's going to take it and run, and he's got the first down and more. 10, 5, and muscles his way into the end zone for an unbelievable 26-yard touchdown run. Are you kidding me? He's a beast with a capital B, and he would not be denied.
Let's check in with 13 Wham Sports Buffalo Plus's Mike Catalana, who's watched a lot of Buffalo Bills football through the years, Mike. And I don't know where you would rank that play in a game that, let's face it, doesn't mean anything if you can't get over on Kansas City in the postseason. But I feel like that's one that's going to be remembered for a very, very long time.
I agree with you. I think about recency bias, and when we always think that, right, in that moment. But I try to put it in context of what it is. I mean, it's regular season games, and we've seen some there, big plays that have clinched playoff spots or, obviously playoff games where they've gone to the Super Bowl, or even Taron Johnson's pick six against Lamar, all these great moments. But for a regular season game that did not decide anything, it's as big a moment as I've seen, I think, because it's Josh Allen. It's not just a touchdown run. It's 4th and 2. It's the right decision by Sean McDermott to put it in the hands of his quarterback. And the best part about it is the play shouldn't have worked, or what he did shouldn't have worked, yet he's Josh Allen, so it does work. So I thought it was spectacular. I thought it was great for the fans. I love, when they've played the Chiefs, still 6 games left, and the other games down the line. But it was meaningful, and the Chiefs were undefeated. So add all that in. I'll add a little recency bias. It was as good as you'll see in the regular season.
It was a fun atmosphere there yesterday, Mike, how loud that got. On McDermott and the decision, would Sean McDermott years ago have done that? Has he grown as a coach in that regard, the trust in his quarterback?
Yeah, it's not just Sean McDermott. The game has changed. Now it's just a given. A lot of times teams go for it. And, there are knuckleheads out there who put every play together. It's a 4th down. And, look, you can make the decision. What was it in the playoff game? 4th and 8, 4th and 7, 4th and 8 when they tried the Tyler Bass field goal. Well, you can say, go for it. We want to try to win the game. I get that. But 4th and 2 is manageable for Josh Allen or for most quarterbacks, right? You can do that. Plus, they've been burned by this team before. So my point is, you look around the league, and there are times, Mike Tomlin going for things. Mike Tomlin never goes for it in those circumstances. He's as conservative as it gets, and it's changed. And you got Sirianni and Dan Campbell that are way on the other side. They go for everything. So, yes, he has evolved, but also the game itself is just go for it, because what's going to happen on the other end. You've seen it happen before. And quite honestly, it's only a field goal on the other side if you don't get it. So, it's not like you need Mahomes to be magical. It's a few first downs and a kick, even though it's a new kicker. and they would win it. So I agree he has, but I also agree the game has just changed where you put it in the offense's hands.
I also think when you watch specifically Josh Allen and the Bills' offense going up against this Chiefs defense, I mean, there were multiple times yesterday where it just looked like Josh Allen has them figured out. He's seen Spagnuolo's defense enough that he has them figured out. And I also think that not enough is being said about the offensive line of the Buffalo Bills, who, even though they were down one of their best players, kept Allen clean and did an unbelievable job protecting him. Not so much in the run game, but certainly keeping Chris Jones off of Josh Allen's back.
Yeah, Chris Jones was not a major factor in the game. But I got to tell you, the one thing about the Chiefs, man, they do come up with some stuff. So I was watching a breakdown, and not to get too inside this, but it was fascinating. You remember the play where Josh rolled right and threw it away? Could have been grounding. They said Dawson Knox was in the area. Well, McDuffie came on the blitz on that play. And I think it was Brian Baldinger breaking it down. Fascinating. Where it's McDuffie coming. They rush a linebacker on the inside, and they drop Chris Jones into coverage. And you think, why are you doing that? Allen absolutely was looking in the middle of the field, and there's monstrous Chris Jones. The back has to pick up the linebacker. It was Ty Johnson who did a good job. And McDuffie free run at Allen. There is no way Josh Allen was thinking that mix of plays was going to happen. He had to throw it away. So that's out there. I think Spagnuolo is an incredible defensive coordinator. But I think you're right. They did enough because you never know where that guy's going to bring pressure, and Josh can get around it. But they did help him. I mean, the run game was bad. I think it's better when Spencer Brown's on the field just because he's a more physical player. They played without him. But you kept Josh clean, and you made enough plays. But, man, it's tough to live. It's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8 like it was. They play the Chiefs again. They're going to have to try to run the ball a little better.
Yeah, part of that running, and I was just wondering, like, is it just the time? They achieved one of their goals, the time of possession here, Mike. 34 minutes they kept the ball, nearly 10 minutes more than Kansas City had the ball. So how are we seeing the evolution here of this Bills offense? Because I never thought that with the talent that was leaving, now you've hit 30 points in each of the last 5 games here.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't think it's sustainable to play like they did yesterday against the Chiefs again. And the reason I say that is they converted a lot of longer third downs. The Shakir catch when he got drilled, the pass interference call. Like, obviously, when Allen did not convert on the third, but he gets the touchdown on the fourth. But they had long to go. And I think if you're the Chiefs, you're sitting there looking at that going, yeah, that's a tough way for them to make a living. And I do think they have to do a better job in the run game going forward if you're going to look at the negative part, because it's just too many long down and distances. But this offense, it's funny you say that. We were sitting there talking about it. We were doing our podcast, talking about all the issues, where they couldn't run it and they got in trouble and he couldn't get the ball back to Cooper again and know this and know that. And then you go, look at the scoreboard. They scored 30 points against the Chiefs. So that is impressive as it is. They do it different ways. They really do. They've done it shorthanded for a couple of weeks, but I think it's the most balanced offense they've had since Josh Allen has been there. They can beat you multiple ways. And you do see Cooper does open some stuff up for them. So, Brady has done a really good job. Allen has adapted to it so well. This is the offense McDermott has wanted. He's wanted a more physical offense that can run the ball. That's why I say I think they know they've got to be better at that when they play the Chiefs the next time.
Josh Allen gets all the headlines, Mike. Patrick Mahomes in a victory would probably be getting a lot of the headlines as well. Do you put any of yesterday's loss on Mahomes? Because I have a hard time. I mean, look, he began the game and ended the game with a couple of throws I'm sure he'd like to have back, but Kelsey kind of giving up on that last play. I think Mahomes' play is not in question here. I think that he still is one of the better quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the NFL, even though the Bills got over on him yesterday.
Yeah, he made some great plays. The throw he made for the touchdown to Noah
Gray.
Right. It's a mistake. It's like a Josh Allen mistake. I mean, he's rolling right, sort of throws across his body and back. Because you could tell Terrell Bernard was playing for the sticks. He's running, And then the next thing you know, he's taking a step back and he's throwing it to Gray. But those guys can make those plays. I mean, we didn't see as much of the crazy Mahomes stuff where he gets to the line of scrimmage and you think the defender's coming at him and he flips it over his head or any of those plays. But he's still incredible. He didn't get Kelsey involved, and he really had a tough time getting Hopkins involved because they were not major factors in the game. But he's still great, and he's going to have some more help probably if they meet up again. So no, I don't put this on him really at all. I thought both teams they're very equal. Bills were better. Josh Allen was the best player on the field when he needed to be. He outplayed Mahomes. I wouldn't question that. He outplayed him yesterday making those plays. And like you say, he made the biggest play of the game, and Mahomes did not.
Mike, the Bills at 9-2, Kansas City at 9-1. How do you assess the race for the top seed? Because I think we all can agree. I mean, wherever the eventual Buffalo-Kansas City game is played, the team that goes on the road is not going to be at this tremendous disadvantage. But the team that gets the 1 seed, getting that extra week of rest, not having to deal with a wild card round, that's a big advantage. How would you assess this race now between Buffalo and Kansas City?
Well, obviously the tiebreaker is huge because you only need to be tied with them. But, when I look at the Bills' schedule, I think to myself, okay, 49ers at home, and I know they've had their struggles. They got the Super Bowl hangover. They're going to have played and then come into Orchard Park is tough. That going to the Lions, that's a tough game. I mean, they're playing fantastic. And, you still go to the Rams, like they still have those kind of games. I mean, my guess is, what do you think? They could lose one more game and still possibly do it. I mean, the Chiefs still have at Denver. They've got Pittsburgh. I don't think there's another game on there.
Chargers.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the Chargers have been, I will tell you this, I need to catch up a little bit as we were at the game. I have seen so little of the Chargers this year. It just seems like one of those teams that I look up and see what the score is and then see some highlights. But obviously they've found ways to win. They've got Herbert. They've got Harbaugh. But could they do it? Sure. I mean, last year, Kansas City got run over by the Raiders late in the season. That can happen. They're a different kind of team. But I would think the Bills' shot would be win them all. Obviously, you've got a good shot. Maybe at max, they'd have to go 5-1 because in that case, you still are looking at 2 Kansas City losses. So I do think it makes a big difference. Like you said, it's not just home field is big, but it's all about matchups in the playoffs, and it's a win. You automatically go to the second round, and you're home for both games. So it would be massive, but I still think it's going to be tough.
Mike, if the outcome of yesterday's game was different, one of the storylines we would be following today is Tyler Bass because he missed another extra point. So I guess my question is, do you get the sense that there's still concern around Bass? Is he still riding that wave of confidence from the game winner a couple of weeks ago? And when you look around the rest of the NFL, what's wrong with these big brand name kickers missing multiple kicks in a game, whether you're talking about Tucker or Elliott McPherson last night? I mean, it's not going the way you would expect it to go in the kicking game for some of these bigger named kickers.
It's like a virus went through the league. It was like it attacked all the kickers. I mean, bad kicks. And was the 2 by the Bengals and then the one with the obviously the Eagles the other night, it could have cost them the game.
Right.
And it's been really bad. And I don't know. I think with Bass, look, they're extra points. Like it's even yesterday, you think about, do you kick a field goal? Yes. The points were a different story because you're talking about taking it from 2 to 5, which is something. But then you're saying is go for the touchdown at 4th and 2. You're also saying, do I trust him here, right, in this case? And I think publicly they trust him. I think publicly he has confidence. But come on, you step up there and miss the extra point on the first touchdown of the game. It's just not good enough. And I don't think they're making any moves. I think there's a lot of coaches somewhat panicking now. And I think you're going to see more take some other chances. We're going for it, and, because it's kickers, like you said, you used to be able to depend on. Maybe this always happens. Maybe it's just, but it just seems like for the last few weeks, the kicking in general around the league has been bad. And now and now we'll see down the stretch. But I don't know if there's a bunch of guys out there waiting for gigs, but I don't think the Bills are looking to make a move still. They're just going to hope that he straightens it out. But got to make the easy ones, and then obviously he can only live so much off of the 61-yarder. It was fantastic, but the kicks get bigger and bigger as we go along.
Yeah, Danger, the vibe in there. I don't know if, Mike, you would agree with me on this. Like, it's the opening drive. Get a touchdown. Everybody's really fired up. And then, and then the shout song plays, and it's like, all right, yeah.
I
guess
know.
it's
Cut the mic on that. It's funny. What's the first thing you think of when your team scores and they miss the extra point? You think, we're going to be down 7-6.
Right.
It's like the automatic thought, right? And Danger, I'm not saying this to pick on you here because I didn't. Again, we were busy at the game.
We're not a Bears show, Mike. We're talking about the Bills today.
Oh, okay. Was it a long kick? I didn't even say it.
43?
Oh,
yeah.
To beat the Packers.
Yeah. No, that's two games where my soul has been crushed this season, and more where they just haven't shown up. So.
Yeah, but it is really around the league. It really is something, and I think coaches. I do think coaches are going to be just probably more aggressive in spots because it is funny. There's this natural sense of you're giving up 3 points here. You're giving up like it's a guarantee they're going to make all these field goals, and there's been enough misses to make you think otherwise.
Mike, switching gears here on you before you have to keep Bryce Harper the highest paid player on the Phillies here. That's why I can't consider the Phillies, in the sweepstakes here for Soto.
So you didn't think it was a big deal? I told you I saw Soto walking down the street in a full Phillies uniform in New York this weekend.
I didn't know where you were going with that on a text. Sometimes it's kind of hard to read the tone. In fact, I don't think there's any tone when you're texting somebody, Mike.
No, I don't know. Soto's out there getting the most money, or whoever's going to pay him. I know the Mets were trying. He's going to be he's the prize here. I don't think that's what the Phillies should do. To be honest with you, I think he's a very good player. I think he's a mercenary. I think he's going to go where he gets the most money. Good for him. And he'll help any team. I don't think there's any question. I told you, I didn't love the fact that in an hour after they lost the World Series, he was talking about free agency already. But that happens, I guess, right? He's young, got a lot of money, going to get a lot more money. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe you just bring Alonso back and you'll be fine.
Mike, what are you, Dan and Jenna, working at Buffalo Plus this week that we can check out?
So we just put up the latest podcast is up there. We've got our You Ask, We Answer segment. We're hoping, and I'll let you guys know, we got a couple of guests that we're looking forward to in the bye week. So hopefully that's the case, and keep putting up the content. And number 17 keeps making plays. It's good for everybody covering the team because it's a lot of fun. So yeah, any chance you get, both the audio podcast or on the YouTube channel.
Mike, I know you had a family wedding. At least you didn't feel the obligation to log on to Netflix there on Friday night.
Yeah. I just, those things are just something. I think a ton of people watched, right? It got like a crazy amount of views.
65 million, they're saying.
Yeah. There'll be a rematch of some sort, right? If you get that many people to watch, or Tyson will fight somebody
else. Boxing,
of
course. This is. I mean, if anything, we forgot how boxing works. Every match sets up the follow-up.
The next match.
Right, and it's always been this way, and it kind of continues.
Fascinating. Yeah, it is fascinating. I just heard somebody talking about it. It's Netflix, so it's kind of like, oh, I'm home. I have Netflix. I'll watch it, which helps them a ton. If they said it's $49.95 or $29, whatever the number is, you make money, but it's like that's an effort or a commitment. You got to say, I really want to. If you're already getting Netflix, you're like, I'll check this out, and they get a lot of people. Netflix, let's get it. They got Christmas Day football and boxing and live programming. Why not? That's what they're trying. But
I mean, the boxing match, Mike, it felt like the early days of streaming. Remember the Yahoo game with the Bills and the Jags from London, and they were overwhelmed, and I felt like that for the first time watching Tyson on Friday night.
Yeah, I know there's some concern. They're going like, hey, you're going to be able to pull this off on Christmas because people would not be happy with NFL games if they had issues with it. But I'm sure I'm sure that the money they just pulled in for Tyson with all those views and the way they monetize that, I'm sure, and they can pump up the servers there a little bit and do a better job at Netflix.
Mike, appreciate you. We'll be checking out Buffalo Plus this week and seeing who you're going to be bringing on. Thanks so much, bud.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
You got it. Enjoy the bye week. There is Mike Catalana, the Hall of Famer, stopping by the sports bar. Scott Player is the player I was thinking of. Is that who you said?
Phil Dawson.
Phil Dawson is who you said.
Phil Dawson.
Scott Player looked super sweet with his single bar Cleveland Browns helmet, single bar mask.
I think Matt Mosley of the Washington team, and then Matt Barr, who was with the Giants.
Famous quarterback who did the single bar, too.
Oh, Theismann.
The best.
The best, yeah.
Right? Imagine a quarterback playing a game today wearing a single bar face mask.
Or anybody for that.
Or anybody. Yeah, you're right. No, but Scott Player was super sweet. He had the Fu Manchu mustache. He looked like the singer from Metallica wearing that single bar. Super sweet.
Let me pull up the Chiefs' schedule here, Danger, because I do kind of agree with Mike. The Bills could afford one more loss if they're going to be the 1 seed, but let's just make sure. All right. The Chiefs and the Panthers.
Win.
Oh, this is the Black Friday game, the Raiders and Chiefs at Arrowhead.
At Arrowhead, win.
Chargers at the Chiefs, December 8th.
That's a toss-up for me.
Okay, circle that as a toss-up. Chiefs at Browns, December 15th.
That's a win for the Chiefs. Although at Browns. At Browns?
At Browns.
Sneaky.
Right, the defense sneaky.
Sneaky. That's a sneaky one. That's one that nobody would expect. Watch out for the Browns game.
That's one like, hey, what are we doing today, the 15th? Right? Like, have you ever done that? Just like, let's go watch an NFL game.
Yeah.
I would imagine that would be fun. Then a Saturday game, Texans and Chiefs. Oh, I know why they did this on this Saturday.
Yeah, that's the week before Christmas.
The Christmas. So Texans, Chiefs, Steelers hosting the Chiefs on Christmas Day, and then the Chiefs at Denver.
Those last 3 games.
Last 5.
Yeah.
If you're saying the Browns is sneaky, which I agree with you, Chargers, Browns, Texans, Steelers, Broncos.
I think Texans, Steelers, Broncos, those last 3, it's not impossible to imagine that they lose 2 of those last 3.
Watching the Chargers last night, I prematurely said they were charging. They didn't charge.
They did not charge.
They did not charge.
They did, but they didn't. They absolutely charged, but they woke up. And maybe that's coaching. Maybe that's Harbaugh. Maybe that's Harbaugh just saying, not on my watch, guys. No, it ends tonight. This is not happening. And if you're the Bengals, hey, the Chargers might have done the Bills and the rest of the AFC a favor. I want to see the Bengals, man.
Well, I'm thinking about this for anybody that says, oh, there's not much difference between a 1 or a 2. Who's going to be the 7 this year? What if it were like I'm thinking the whole time, oh gosh, if this is Cincinnati, Buffalo, no, I wouldn't want that. This is not Pittsburgh stumbling in. Even Denver, a team that doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
It's not, the 2-7's not going to be a layup this year.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. All of these teams have something that could make you a little bit nervous. Cincinnati, with Higgins and Chase, still a dangerous offense that can score at will. We saw that last night. Defensively, inconsistent, but they ratcheted it up in the second half only to give it away there at the end. The Chargers get the win, and the Bengals really looking like on the outside looking in. I don't even know if you put them in the farting around graphic just yet.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be in the farting.
They'll probably, yeah. It's good to be in the farting around graphic if you're the Bengals, but they probably don't belong in the farting. Like you could make the case that the Jets and the Dolphins are farting around.
The Colts are ahead of the Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff, and I don't want to pile on you, but
I do. What was that? You lost to the Colts. You lost to Anthony Richardson, who was benched the last 2 weeks.
The guy who's benched comes off and beats your all-world quarterback, but make sure you tune into McAfee this week.
Right. No, the serious question for the Jets is, what are you doing next year? What's next year look like? Is he back? Because he said, yeah, I think I'd want to be back. Yeah, I think I'll play. Do you want him back? Would you want him back? Would any team want him next season as their quarterback? Show me the team that wants Aaron Rodgers in 2025 to be their starting quarterback, and I'll show you a losing team. It's terrible.
Was over good friends of the show, Good Smoke, talking to Brian today. I forgot he's a Raider fan. Raider, anybody that sticks with their team when they're down and out. But yeah, we were not far removed from this. We're like, okay, can we draft a quarterback? This is not the year to be drafting a quarterback the way it sounds like when we talk to Thor Nystrom. Sure, we'll get ourselves excited about somebody, but it's as compared to this past year. I know you don't want to hear this, Danger. Caleb Williams was okay yesterday.
He was fine.
He was okay.
He was fine. It's what makes it even more frustrating. It's like, oh, there were some signs. We have some signs of life here, guys.
That's all this year was about, signs.
Yeah.
You wasted a year by not having the correct head coach, but I digress. But look, between him, Daniels, and Drake May is actually going to be good. I don't think we're getting 1, 2, 3 in quarterbacks, and I don't think if we do, we're getting 1, 2, 3 quarterbacks that are going to help your team. So my roundabout way of bringing up the Raiders and Brian and Good Smoke and everything else, that's the only team I could think of. Like, well, do we go for Aaron Rodgers? The answer should be no. You don't want any part of that. You want to look ahead.
Jay Binkley of 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City will stop by the sports bar in about a half an hour. We'll take your calls as well on the other side of this break at 866-4FAN. If you want to join us on a Victory Monday, we'll also discuss some other happenings from around the NFL. One specific happening that we haven't really talked about yet, but it is of concern to you Giant fans out there. It's time. It is time.
There was one story, Danger, and I'm sure you might have missed this. Lots of people might have missed this. Who is the next team that's going to relocate in professional sports? I'm talking Big Four. Yeah, a story from over the weekend that got a little buried that we'll talk about.
All right, we'll get to that and more next. Jay Binkley joining us in the 4 o'clock hour as well. You're in the sports bar. It's Danger and Battaglia on the Fan.
9BF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. The Fan, Rochester. Sports update.
The race is on for the top seed in the AFC. Kansas City with their first loss of the season at the hands of the Buffalo Bills. Kansas City at 9-1. Buffalo at 9-2 for a record. Josh Allen knows there's a good chance Bills Chiefs could happen in the postseason.
Yeah, given our history, we tend to meet in the playoffs. So, again, we're not there yet. We'll focus on that when we get there. But we got a bye week and then, tough team coming here, I believe. San Francisco coming here. Yeah, so.
We will talk to our friend Jay Binkley, 96.5, The Fan in Kansas City, coming up later this hour here in the Sports Bar. Week 11 concluding tonight, the Cowboys and Texans on Monday Night Football. The Giants go with Tommy DeVito at quarterback, benching Daniel Jones. New York hosting Tampa Bay this Sunday. Sabres send down Devin Levi, going up as Isaac Rosen. The Amerks play at Laval on Wednesday. Gene Battaglia, The Fan, Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
The game of the year lives up to the billing, and it's a happy ending for the 71,000 plus here in Orchard Park. The Bills improved to 9-2 on the season as the Chiefs get their first loss handed to them 30-21.
Mike Danger.
Well, I think it does matter because I think a lot of people would love to see this team as a 1 seed in the AFC. And if, by the way, you're the 1 seed in the AFC, chances are Josh Allen is your league MVP.
Gene Battaglia.
Well, that's right. I listen to that, too. But I still don't think they get the 1 seed, Danger. Lots can change, certainly with injuries and whatnot. But the idea you got San Francisco, the Rams, and Detroit on the road, those are tough assignments. And then you would still need the Chiefs to kind of slip up, and then you would have to be perfect.
95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
You want to tell as to how head coach and quarterback are aligned? Jesus, Josh is even starting to talk like Sean McDermott. I mean, the press conference, you stick to your beats and you don't give anybody really anything. But there are little things, little mannerisms that when they come out, you're like, oh, that's something that McDermott does. I don't know who we're playing. I think we're playing, who do we got on the bye? Oh, is it San Francisco? I think. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, given our history, we tend to meet in the playoffs. So, again, we're not there yet. We'll focus on that when we get there. But we got a bye week and then, tough team coming here, I believe. San Francisco coming here. Yeah, so.
I believe. I don't really know. Who's next? I don't know. Oh, San Francisco. Yeah, right. That's right. Okay. Like he didn't know. Like they don't know who's next on the schedule.
Well, he knew, and then he threw on the brakes because, wait a second, I got to just kind of make sure I'm staying focused here. And, yeah, you know exactly. They know. Of course they know.
I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, that the outcome of yesterday's game would certainly determine the MVP frontrunner heading into the holidays. You had the Ravens and the Steelers. You had the Bills and the Chiefs. These were the games that were going to be key to unlocking the leader's identity. Now, obviously, Josh stepped up. He seized the moment. And as of right now, plus 150 on FanDuel, he is now the favorite to win MVP. Next closest, Lamar, plus 200. Jared Goff, plus 700. Now, there's still a lot of games to be played, including against Goff's Lions. Is that, by the way, a lot of people now kind of jumping on board, like what a Super Bowl it would be if it was Lions and Bills. Can you imagine New Orleans hosting Detroit and Buffalo?
Oh my gosh, there's not enough beer in the city there, even New Orleans to help out. Gosh, could that be kind of your quasi battle for the MVP head to head? Because you look at Detroit, Danger, and they run the ball really, really well.
They do everything really, really well. They're very good right now. Very good right now.
Would you take right now? All right, I'm going to give you choice A, Detroit or Philadelphia in the Super Bowl, or B, the field.
No, it's Detroit or Philadelphia for me.
Yeah, same.
The play yesterday by Allen, it almost feels like the way they won that game yesterday. He did everything he needed to do. He would have to trip up pretty badly here, I think, to blow the MVP award at plus 150 as of right now. So as predicted, the outcome of yesterday's games kind of solidified who the league MVP, the chase for the league MVP is, and it is, right now, Josh Allen at plus 150.
His to lose now. I don't think, have we said that at any point entering December? Because that's where no. We've never said that entering December.
You want a freaky kind of thing. I mean, like if you want to don't take for granted how weird this fall has been from a weather and a climate perspective. How many? It was 2 years ago, 3 years ago
Yes.
that we got belted. Not us, Buffalo got belted, and they had to move the Cleveland game to Detroit.
And then, if you think that's bad, wait till Christmas. That all happened. That was so. And then the DeMar Hamlin, 2 years ago, was just a blur.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of due for some nice weather and other nice things here. 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Brad in Rochester. What's up, Brad?
Hey, dude.
Hey. The biggest thing I took away from the game was that we finally beat a winning team. We hadn't beaten one all year, and we finally did, and we did it soundly. It's not like, it was a luck call here or a lucky penalty or something didn't get called. We just solidly beat the Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs would actually argue that there were a couple of lucky calls that didn't go their way. I mean, the holding call at the end there, he scrambled. Let me try to rack my brain here. He scrambled, and I think it forced. It was an 18-yard scramble to the Buffalo 34 that would have converted, but instead it made it 4th and 13. And then this was at the end of the game where he had to force the throw to Kelsey. Kelsey kind of gives up, and you get your pick from Terrell Bernard. So, there might be a call or two there that a Chiefs fan might have issue with.
Look, I mean, it was. I don't think that anywhere officiating was a storyline yesterday. No, I don't think. And to the point, all right, I look. We could put that to rest. And it's fair. The Bills hadn't beaten a team with a winning record, but you can only play the teams on your schedule, right? This is how it kind of laid out. That's why, okay, here's the test. They passed yesterday. I'll say they passed with flying colors. Brad, thank you. 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Did you ever watch?
And by the way, really quick on the schedule, they have one team on their remaining schedule now that's above 500.
Which you wouldn't think. That would be Detroit.
Yeah.
You would think. See, this is something that we're going to run out of time because of the holiday. What's wrong in San Francisco?
I think if you were to ask the Niners fan base what's wrong with the Niners, they would say it's their coach. They would put it on Shanahan.
I'm reading more and more of that. You ever watch 1970 football highlights, like the old NFL films? It was violent.
Yes.
You had guys body slam. You had cheap shots.
You want something fun to watch? I know the NFL today was just at Orchard Park, and we have a good time watching J.J. Watt and everybody going through tables and the whole thing, right? If you want to laugh, go Google the opening intro for the NFL today in the early 80s. It's play after play of just plays that would get players. You're dead. You're out of the league. You're out.
Body slam, cheap shots.
Just violent. Just
violent.
Preying on the bloodthirst. It was amazing.
So, kind of with that, this is how I'm framing this take, Danger, because I like this. I know you love this. But we're going to have a day of reckoning coming up here with the Peanut Punch, all right? The Peanut Punch, this was Peanut Tillman. Hey, I'm going to force a fumble by punching the ball out. And it's a great play, right? And it was used effectively. And Sean McDermott learned it, taught it, and you see it from time to time with the Buffalo Bills. Heck, Josh Norman helped out a few years ago with the Peanut Punch. This doesn't give you the license to go wailing on an opposing player. We saw the Colts lineman 3 times take a swing at Josh Allen. Oh, I missed the ball, but I hit you in the head.
Yeah.
Watch, it happened again yesterday. Watch the end of the Allen touchdown run where Chiefs linebacker Drew Tranquil comes over was he going for the Peanut Punch, or was this just an opportunity to take a free shot?
Well, when you look at the way Allen was holding the ball on that touchdown, it was out there, man. I mean, he's a little reckless and careless carrying the football. It was out there and available for anybody that wanted it. If you watch the replay of it, my take on the Peanut Punch is, if it's done to perfection, I don't think there's a more. I love seeing it on TV. I love a perfectly executed Peanut Punch. but you're punching at the football, you knuckleheads. You're not punching at a helmet to try and jar the ball loose. Punch the football. Don't break your hand trying to punch Josh Allen in the helmet. That's not going to do it for you. No, go for the football. That's the peanut punch. I don't know what the Colts guy was doing last week. When I saw that, I'm like, that's not the peanut punch.
Yeah,
that's just you wailing on a quarterback. And
How
by
is
the
that
way,
not unnecessary roughness?
and how smart are you? You're hitting a helmet. It's like, why would you punch a guy in the NFL when he has his helmet on? It makes zero sense at all. And obviously you don't want to see guys swinging helmets. We've seen it all, right? We've seen it all in the NFL. It is violent. But the peanut punch, no, it can't go away. It's never going to go away. It just needs to be executed properly.
Yeah, and if somebody like that Colts lineman, it's 15 yards.
Should be.
Yeah.
You're throwing punches. Absolutely. Gino, I'm feeling pretty confident about one of my bold predictions from the preseason. The Giants are no longer a football team.
You're wrong.
They're a sideshow.
Wrong.
They're a sideshow. If you think the move to start Tommy DeVito is about anything more than selling jerseys or attracting fans to watch a losing product down the stretch, you are nuts. DeVito was behind Drew Lock on the team's quarterback depth chart, yet he's replacing Daniel Jones. It's smart business move here by the front office and keeping Jones off the field and avoiding that $23 million in injury guarantees for 2025. They've got some winnable games left on the schedule, Gino, including, and I may have to go to Gladiator 2 instead, Thanksgiving against the Cowboys. Of course, you're kicking off the holiday season with Cooper Rush and Tommy Cutlets, 'cause he's Italian.
Think of all the fun. I'm assuming, is that the Fox or CBS game? I don't know. It's all kind of
The
crossed
Fox
up.
game.
But then Lions and Bears is also playing.
Early game, CBS.
CBS. Okay. So the Fox game, Tom Brady, and we're going to have some kind of Italian recipe here for, you have to have some other reason.
What recipe is Tom Brady sharing? He's not going to have any. What does he eat for Thanksgiving? Oh, I'm good. I'm just going to have an avocado and a chia seed. I'll be okay. Thanks.
Okay. Bad example. Duly noted. No, do you think Fox really got involved
If Tommy Cutlets shared a booth with Tom Brady would probably shrivel because just the fact that there's breading around Tommy Cutlets. My God, you actually fry your food? Please keep your distance from me. I will melt.
The point that they're putting DeVito ahead of Drew Lock? What?
If you're Brian Daboll, this can't be your decision. You're Brian Daboll. You got hired in part because of what you supposedly did as the Bills offensive coordinator working with Josh Allen. And now you could start having this conversation like who made who, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did Josh Allen make Brian Daboll? Did Brian Daboll make Josh Allen? You could certainly, I know people are already having that conversation about Steph Diggs and Josh Allen. I mean, look, I'm always going to say that while Steph Diggs was in Buffalo, he was one of the best receivers in franchise history during his stretch in Buffalo. And I would say that they kind of made each other. But when you look back at it, you'll look at Steph Diggs' career and you'll be like, oh, no, his best years were with Josh Allen throwing him the football. No question.
I think the Daboll story is easy to diagnose. I think it's just simply the Peter principle. You're only going to rise to the level then that you're capable of, and then you will fail. I think Brian Daboll is an offensive coordinator. If you just gave him that, he could scheme up some things and he could work with a quarterback, but he can't lead men. He can't handle pressure. Like when your quarterback is making mistakes at the end of the first half, you can't be melting down the way we saw Brian Daboll melting down on Tyrod Taylor. Brian Daboll as a head coach, no. Not along the same vein, but because I don't think he was a hothead, but Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips, fantastic defensive coordinator. Ask any Cowboy fan, how did it go as a head coach? And he got 3 cracks at it for crying out loud.
Yeah. Well, I just thought that move was an interesting one and pretty transparent if you really look at the overall business of the New York Giants. Not a lot to get excited about if you're a Giant fan knowing that Daniel Jones is out there. You've seen enough.
Well, at least this makes it halfway watchable.
The $23 million injury guarantees for 2025, I think, are worth noting as well.
That's the story.
Yeah.
That's the story. We teased this. What's the next sports franchise to relocate? It's a story you probably missed from over the weekend, but the stadium financing for the Tampa Bay Rays has completely fallen apart. Now, I'm not into high finance, but if I can just kind of dumb it down here, there was some vote, some paperwork that needed to be passed for bonds in the county down there. They didn't do it. They kicked the can down the road. I get the county's point. Hey, we had a major hurricane. We've got all these issues. But now construction won't start for at least another year, which now puts a little bit of a gap here for the Rays. Oh, by the way, who aren't even playing in their actual home. And as the Tampa Bay Times kind of reports in the way they lay this out, Danger, wait a second. This owner, if they never open up that stadium again, he stands to make more money from actually just redeveloping the area and then if he relocated somewhere else. So now the threat of the Rays moving is actually real, even though they're going to probably put 10,000, I would think, per game at Steinbrenner Field outdoors there when it's nice.
Sure, but it's a spring training park that'll be sold out every game. When they were playing at the Trop, you had that amount in a venue that was a quarter full if you're lucky.
And how much money are you actually pulling in Steinbrenner Field too?
Right. Well, I just think every time you turn on the lights in one of these massive arenas or stadiums, it's potentially a losing proposition. If you don't fill it out, you're losing money when you turn the lights on.
When you don't have a major TV contract, as they don't. So
Sure.
as I'm trying to piece this together, where would they go? Well, who's willing to write a big check? Like in Utah, they want to own their own team. I think Salt Lake City is kind of that. What about Nashville? Montreal? Like where would the Rays end up?
My heart wants Montreal so bad. I want the Expos so bad back in just that strike shortened season when they were rolling and the season got cut short. I'm like, the Expos would be fun. Even though the Expo, I mean, they were named after something. The Expos, was that after like the World Fair or something that came through there?
Yeah. How silly is that?
Yeah, it's amazing. I almost feel like you have to name them the Expos, even though it's so kind of irrelevant now and almost a forgotten franchise. But man, that's my heart. That's my heart telling me, oh, that would be a lot of fun. But probably a growth market. I could certainly see a Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Salt Lake City feels like it's making their way. I don't know about Austin. I don't know about Texas. You've got some teams already in that area. How much more can Texas handle more baseball? But that's a bummer for the Tampa region, for that area.
You want to talk about growth markets? The Astros have a new name for their stadium. It was formerly Minute Maid Enron Field before that. Dakin Park. Like, who is Dakin? It's an HVAC company based out of Japan. Fine. There's money here. Great.
You got the money. You cash that check every time you mention the field. Cha-ching. Jay Binkley, 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City, stops by the sports bar next, and we'll talk more Bills Chiefs on The Fan.
Welcome back to We the Hobby. You know what time it is? A little something special today. Oh, Nick.
Is that a corn?
That ain't no corn.
What?
That's a super corn!
Visit us at 23 Arlington Street in Rochester.
.950 The Fan, Rochester is everywhere. Sports Update.
Last time the Buffalo Bills started the season at 9-2, that was year number 3 of the Super Bowl run, 1992. As for this year, it's the bye week coming up. Steve Tasker thinks it's a good time.
So right now, the Bills, man, what a perfect time for a bye week. They got a chance to get an entire wave of guys back off the injured list for the San Francisco game in 2 weeks.
Yeah. What about the win over the Chiefs? We'll get the Kansas City side of things. Jay Binkley, 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City, joining us next year in the Sports Bar. Week 11 concluding tonight, the Cowboys and Texans on Monday Night Football. The Giants going to Tommy DeVito at quarterback, benching Daniel Jones. Sabres sending down Devin Levi. Now going to Buffalo is Isak Rosane. The Amerks and Levi playing at Laval on Wednesday. Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader, The Fan, Rochester.
Pull up a stool and join us. 585-866-4FAN. 866-4326. The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
4th and 2. Appreciate Coach for trusting us. Really had a play for man. Could have checked out of it, but they held a pretty good man look. They dropped out into zone. Again, just trying to create and keep the play alive there as a crease and just trusted the feet. Yeah, it's a man concept where Khalil, if there's a man on the left side, we fly the back, try to create some eye candy, if you will, run him through the line. It's just like a mesh play. And again, they went zone, so just made a play. Anytime you give the ball back to Pat and that offense, down 6 with the game on the line, I'll tell you what, they like their odds in that situation. So wanting to get 6 or 7 to try to make it a 2-score game, and our defense bowed up there at the end, and a heck of a play by TB.
Bills get the win yesterday in Orchard Park, but it feels almost like an inevitability that these two teams will meet again in the postseason. We welcome in from our Odyssey Sports sister station, 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City, Jay Binkley. Jay, I wanted to bump with that Allen cut because he's kind of explaining what he's seeing there on that winning touchdown play. And I'm curious if there's a player who has seen as much of Steve Spagnuolo's defense as Josh Allen has. I'd like to know who that is, because it seems to me, and you can maybe tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me like he's starting to figure out what exactly is getting thrown at him over the course of a game with Spags.
Well, yeah, he has. And credit Josh Allen to make the adjustment. I'm sure the Chiefs will make the adjustment next time, and it'll be, affable spies on the outside trying to stop what Josh Allen does. I thought that, when they got that 3rd and 9, did you guys think that 3rd and 9 was one of the biggest plays in the game, too? Because I know it doesn't get talked about much, but that 3rd and 9 to me was huge.
Jay,
did you remember that play, 3rd and 9 on the drive?
It's massive.
Yeah, that was big. The 4th and 2, of course, was huge, but those were great plays. I'll credit Sean McDermott for making a great call. 4th and 2, a lot of teams kick a field goal. Chiefs will go ahead, and we've all seen what happens in that situation. But if you want to beat the Chiefs, that's how you do it, and that's what the Bills did. I credit Sean McDermott. Bad job by him challenging a play earlier and wasting a timeout that they probably needed down the stretch, but that was a great call.
Well, Jay, now the race for the 1 seed is fully on, and I'm pulling up the Chiefs' schedule. Now, we know the Bills have, we think it's a tough schedule, but then if I frame it this way, hey, the Bills have only one team with a winning record left on the schedule. That's Detroit. All right, the Panthers, you're going to win that by how many points? The Raiders, you better win. But of these last 5 games, home against the Chargers, at Cleveland, Houston at home, Christmas Day against the Steelers, at Denver. Jay, how would you assess the race for the number 1 seed in the AFC?
Well, I think at max, the Chiefs have 3 losses. I think at max 14-3. It's got to be 3 losses. That's why that game was so big, because of that tiebreaker situation. But, the Bills, the Chiefs are sitting here looking at the Panthers this week. That is a great consolation prize for losing that game, getting the Panthers. But, with San Francisco and Detroit and the Rams, those are tougher games. So, the Bills have 2 games to play with, in my opinion, because I think the Chiefs maximum could have 3 losses. It could very easily be just 2 losses on the season. But if they have 3, that means Buffalo can only have 2. And if they have 2, the Chiefs are in the 1 seed.
Jay, I think that there might be an issue here brewing with the Chiefs, and I'm sure you've seen it a lot, but I don't think a lot of people are talking about the offensive tackle play, which in this game led to some sacks, led to some pressures, made the Bills' defensive line look better than they've looked in a lot of games this year. Talk a little bit about Mahomes' protection and how it might be a liability down the stretch here, and will it improve down the stretch?
It's been really bad, and I felt it was bad at times last year, too. I don't think Mahomes got the credit he deserves dealing with that kind of offensive line. Well, a quarterback can sit back there, but he wins the Super Bowl and loses 6 games with that offensive line. But it's bad. And the last 2 weeks, it's been really bad. And this week on the inactives, you saw Kingsley Suamatia on the inactives. That's Chiefs' second-round pick. Kingsley was the starter for the Chiefs that had won the job to start the season. And then he was replaced by Wanye Morris, again, a guy that played a lot of right tackle at Oklahoma. He's been banged up a little bit too. They don't have a lot, and so people say, no, the Chiefs going to call back Donovan Smith. I mean, there's not a lot of options. They could call him back, but that is an incredible weakness. Now they could slide Joe Tooney from guard out to tackle. You know, he's an all-pro guy. I know that people have talked about the Chiefs. Could they do that? Andy Reid doesn't like to do that as much. I always caution people that want that, which there are a lot of people who want it because his arms are shorter. I know it's a silly thing, but Andy Reid's, he's 2 inches shorter than what Andy Reid prefers at offensive tackle. So I don't see that. Plus that continuity, the inside zone runs the Chiefs do between the 2 guards and the center. But it's a major liability. It's a huge thing for the Kansas City Chiefs. It was worse in that Denver game. It was worse in that Denver game. Wanye played better in the Bills game, but it still wasn't good. But, yeah, I mean, their second-round tackle that they had starting at the beginning of the year was inactive for the first time against the Bills, a healthy scratch. And it's always bad when you're a healthy scratch. There was a starter at the beginning of the year. So, yeah, that's a major concern.
Yeah, Jay Binkley, who is joining us, 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City. Jay, which team was hurt more yesterday by not having the players? The Bills were able to overcome not having Kincaid, not having Keon Coleman, not having right tackle Spencer Brown. But I'm just wondering the next time around how this will look different with Isaiah Pacheco perhaps in the lineup.
Well, I think it would look different. I mean, you're talking about the number 1 and the number 2 receiver and the number 1 running back on this team not playing. That's a lot of talent. I mean, don't forget Hollywood Brown came in here, and this was going to be – he's got the speed of Xavier Worthy. Not quite as low as that, but it's very similar, speed on the outside. And he gets hurt in preseason game 1 against Jacksonville. He could actually come back this year having Hollywood Brown back. Doesn't look like Rashee Rice will be back for this team. But when you lose a guy like Rashee Rice that was off to a great season, parlaying what he did last year, and you lose Hollywood Brown, so your top 2 receivers get hurt, and then you lose they've lost 2 tight ends, too. They lose their 4th-round draft pick that was a tight end as well, so they've lost him. And when they lose Isaiah Pacheco, looks like they're going to give him back. And Charles Omenihu, that's great pass rusher, as we know, but he tore his ACL last year, had 7 sacks last year. He's probably coming back this week. So either this week or next week, they're getting him back. So the Chiefs are banged up all across the board. And, of course, Harrison Butker, Mr. Automatic for the Kansas City Chiefs, hurt as well in that game. So Chiefs, I think, had more injuries than the Buffalo Bills.
I actually wanted to talk to you a little bit, not necessarily about the injuries, but some of the guys that are having to step up in with these injuries. And I look at the Chiefs offensively and almost feel like they have too many weapons, and that Andy Reid and Mahomes, to an extent, haven't really done a great job of of finding somebody that they can trust consistently. We see it from time to time. And against Denver, it was Kelsey, it was Hunt. They had 15 catches between them. They had to combine 2 catches for 8 yards against the Bills, Jay. So what about this offense here with these weapons that are stepping in? Is it just a matter of Pacheco getting back and Kelsey, getting open? Did the Bills defense just have a better defensive game plan than they've ever had against Travis Kelsey? Because it felt like they're, in a game where Mahomes completed 11 passes to different receivers, including an eligible lineman, nobody raised their hand as like the person that Mahomes can trust consistently.
Well, first of all, a lot of credit to the Bills' defense. The bracket coverage they had on Travis Kelsey, they had a great game plan against Travis Kelsey in this game. It was a brilliant game plan. It was the best game plan they've had against him before. But it was about somebody else stepping up. D-Hop, D-Hop's understanding the playbook and getting there, but he's still, not there like someone that's been here all year with the playbook. But no, I don't think it's a case of not having too many weapons. I think it's a case of not having enough weapons. And I think to get to a point where, he spreads the ball around, but you wait for somebody else to step up. Well, if Travis Kelce's getting bracketed, you used to have Rashee Rice. That was a dependable guy, but he's hurt now, so you can't go to him. Xavier Worthy, I think they got a better game out of Xavier Worthy that they've gotten all year from him. I know he had 5 touchdowns coming in, 3 through the year and 2 on the ground. So don't at me on Twitter saying he's only got 3. He's got 5 because he's got 2 rushing as well. But he would have had 100 yards. But the problem is they didn't connect. And he should have drugged 2 feet in. Even Andy Reid said at the Davis press conference, he's got to drag 2 feet in. He drags those 2 feet in. He's got his first 100-yard game in the NFL. That is stepping up that you want to see. They'll get more and more from DeAndre Hopkins as the season goes on. They'll get more and more for him. But I don't think it's a case of having too many weapons. Chiefs relied heavily on Kelce. He led the NFL in catches and yards the previous 3 weeks before that Bills game, so he had kind of turned that corner. And he was 4th in the NFL in receptions. Before that game, he slipped a little bit since then. He was 4th in the NFL in receptions before that game. But credit the Bills for that bracket coverage. But nobody else, stepped up into the role, except for Noah Gray. I think you can say Noah Gray stepped up with the 2 touchdowns as tight end number 2. If they're going to spend so much attention on Kelce, that someone else had to step up. And I felt that he did in that game. But, a couple things, guys. Streaks, I know a lot of people may not be talking about it there, but Patrick Mahomes only had 4 games in his career that he lost by more than 1 score. He lost by more than 1 score yesterday. So that's only the 5th time in his career that he's lost by more than 1 score, and 2 of those are against the Buffalo Bills. And then also the Chiefs have gone 30 straight games holding opponents to 28 points or less. That streak ended as well. So 2 big streaks stopped yesterday in Buffalo.
Jay, you and I were having some fun texting one another, and when the Bills won, I just said, "Hey, see y'all in January there," or whatever it is. And I think that's what you would like, I would like, a lot of people would like. But football is, it's strange, unusual things happen. Who might be the team that could perhaps disrupt this in the AFC? Because I would have thought Baltimore, but it looks like, hey, they got some issues here right now.
Yeah, they do. And hopefully nationally they start seeing that. I mean, we're talking about the 32nd ranked pass defense, the 26th ranked team at points against. This is not the same. This is not your daddy's Baltimore Ravens, and they're not. And they lose yesterday, to Russell Wilson. I think Pittsburgh's is way inflated by that record for how good they actually are. But I think the one team that could have made a difference is the Bengals. And I think the Bengals slipping through the Chargers and not being in the postseason is good for a lot of teams, and that's the Bills, and that's the Chiefs, not to have to worry about the Bengals. I totally think the Bills and Chiefs are on a collision course. They're going to meet in the AFC title game. Those are the 2 best teams in the AFC, and Josh Allen, he's the obvious MVP at this point, but I think it's those 2 teams. I mean, you would think Baltimore would be the only team if they kind of put things together and change how they have been doing things defensively. But they didn't make that move for defensive back like I thought they would have. I thought they were the ones that should have ended up with Marshawn Lattimore, but didn't do it. They decided to add wide receiver. That's not what they needed. Got to know who and what your team is, and they didn't.
What do you think about the NFC as well? I mean, if we're allowed to just kind of dream and think about what these scenarios how they could play out, Jay, is it Detroit, Philly, and the rest of the field, or is there a team on the NFC that you think of in the postseason and be like, well, if the Chiefs or the Bills were to meet that team in the Super Bowl, that would be a problem?
I think the Chiefs or the Bills will meet the Detroit Lions. I think that's where it's headed. Philadelphia, I think, but Philadelphia is one of those teams. They got off to a great start last year. What were they, 9-1 before they hit that collapse? But they've showed that capability. They can collapse, and I don't expect it. They're playing good football now, but again, caution people about getting too caught up with what happens now. Remember last year at this time, Chiefs were a bad team. They were beat by the Raiders at home on Christmas Day. That's their last loss, Christmas Day. That's another streak, 15 straight wins the Chiefs had that ended yesterday in Buffalo. But they had such a bad game against the Raiders, people were even counting them out nationally, even making the playoffs. But they were able to put things together and win the Super Bowl. So who can be that team that puts things together? Can San Francisco getting guys healthy? Could they be a team that finally put things together? I'm not wild about San Francisco, but it is a team, if they put things together, maybe they can be a player in the NFC. But I think right now it's, two-head race. It's Detroit and Philadelphia. I think Detroit, obviously the best team in the NFC.
Jay, there's one team I want to ask you about because really it's a team that, up until last night I hadn't sat down and actually watched anything. The Chargers. Now, the Chiefs beat the Chargers, but that was back in September. But watching that last night, oh, my gosh, they're going to Charger again, and they didn't. How far along do you consider them sort of a sneaky threat here heading to the postseason?
Well, the Chiefs have had their way with them. The Chiefs 19-1 on the road with Patrick Mahomes in the division, which is a crazy number. But, yeah, they beat the Chargers earlier this year. Chiefs have won 19 the last 22 against the Chargers. They've had their luck. But it's a different-looking Chargers team. Jim Harbaugh has his team very physical. That was the Chiefs' most physical game, in my opinion, was the Chargers in what they can do. But a healthy Justin Herbert, and he's definitely more healthy now than he was when they played the Chiefs, but a dangerous team. I don't think it bode well if they let the Bengals come back on them. And let's face it, the Bengals probably woulda, shoulda, coulda won that game with a couple missed field goals, won that game. But to let the Bengals come back, they were rolling the Bengals. And they look great. Then all of a sudden, let the Bengals come back in that game kind of surprised me because we're talking about the number one defense in the NFL with points against. But the commitment to the running game and solid defensive play this season and Justin Herbert's accuracy has the Chargers very good. I thought they would be a playoff team before this season started. I definitely think they're a playoff team now. I think they definitely get in. I think they're maybe a year away from, like we say, okay, let's put this team in the upper echelon, or 3 years, the upper tier. It's not this year. Are they a playoff team? Can they win a playoff game this year? Yeah. But I think next year and the year after, they might be turning the corner. But I think the AFC West is a lot better than people thought it was. As we sit right now, the season ended, 3 teams from the AFC West are in the playoffs with the Broncos.
He's Jay Binkley. You can hear him on our Odyssey Sports sister station, 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City. And, Jay, the Bills didn't make the mistakes that have haunted them in the past. Josh Allen got the best of the Chiefs, just like he did in 21 and 22 and 23. And we'll know that both of these teams will look different when they meet again. And we're kind of predicting that they will meet again here in January. I guess we're just going to have to see who makes the most decisive plays on that day.
No, I think they'll meet again. I think they're on a collision course, and I think when they do play each other, they keep that in mind. They keep that in mind. All right, let's show them this, let's show them that. Let's be careful about what we do here and there because we're going to see this team again. And it's been the way things have gone. And, hey, it's been good luck for the Chiefs to lose to Josh Allen in the regular season because they've held up the Lombardi at the end of the year. So that's been good luck. So if all people say, oh, the Chiefs lost to the Bills nationally like they're doing now, oh, the Bills are better than the Chiefs. Well, they beat them twice in the regular season. The Chiefs have held up the Super Bowl trophy at the Lombardi at the end of the year. So be careful. But this is a different-looking Buffalo team, guys. I don't know what it's McDermott, but he called a really, really good team yesterday, except for that timeout, like I said. But he did the right calls at the right time and made the right decisions. And Josh Allen, I said, proved that he's the MVP, in my opinion, in the NFL.
Well, I'll ask you one last question here, Jay. And in response, you may cover some of the same ground, but I'm assuming we're going to see another round of this coming up in January. You're Andy Reid. You're Steve Spagnuolo. You're the coaching staff. What are the adjustments you're making from the Kansas City side next time you face Buffalo?
Well, shoring up the defense. I mean, working on those the interior passes they were doing, and it's spying Josh Allen a little bit more. It's being more athletic on the outside. I think Charles Omenihu, when he sets the edge for the Kansas City Chiefs, makes a huge difference when it comes to getting to someone like Josh Allen, getting more interior pass rush. The pass rush for the Chiefs was as bad as it's been in about 7 weeks as far as putting pressure on the quarterback from the interior. You want to put that pressure on him up front, then kind of squeeze them in on the outside. So I think those two issues will be big. And I think Kansas City proved that they can run a little bit. And I think the 1-2 combination of Pacheco and Kareem Hunt make a big difference. Not only in the passing game to the running backs, but the running game itself. In the inside zones, the Chiefs have run more this year than they ever have. But I do think the 1-2 punch of Pacheco and Kareem Hunt going to be pretty dangerous when you go down the stretch.
Jay, it's always great to hear your voice. We appreciate you joining us here in Rochester for a Victory Monday, and we'll talk to you again in January, if not before then, I'm sure.
Wait a second,
What?
Jay.
Yeah.
We have a tradition here, and I want you to kind of experience what we do here in Rochester.
You're finally going to offer me a beer?
Oh, we'll offer you a beer. That's never a
just sit
problem.
back and listen here, Jay.
Well, when I come on, I want a St. Adams winter lager. I'd like a shot of bourbon. I mean, what are we doing here? We're sports bar.
We're going to be, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go hang out at our home away from home. We'll go to Three Heads Brewing, and we'll get you a proper IPA, double hazy, whatever you're into. We have it for you.
I would love the local beer there. I've heard it's very, very good.
Yeah, we'll take care of that. But what Gino is referring to here is our tradition on a Victory Monday of just kicking back and putting our feet up, maybe lighting a cigar, pouring a glass of red wine or bourbon, whatever your choice, or an IPA, and listening to Bruno Martino, some Italian music on the Fan. How we celebrate here in Rochester.
You know what? You guys celebrate during the regular season. We'll celebrate in February like we usually do.
You're the best, Jay. Thanks for the time, buddy.
All right, guys. Take care.
Yeah, Jay's probably like Perino. Like, what the hell is this?
What is this?
Get out of here. I'm telling you, get with the program. Perino and I are going to have words tomorrow. Get with the program, Perino. Your name ends in a vowel. You should be all about this on a Victory Monday because you're Italian.
All right, I'm calling a meeting here of the sports bar decision makers, meaning me and you, next Monday. Okay, we will be doing a show. Well, of course, we're heading into Thanksgiving week. I think Bruno Martino makes an appearance too because you won the bye week, right? We're all going to be in a good mood.
I know.
Monday.
I don't have to twist your arm to hear some Italian classics from Italy.
That's what I tell Jay. Jay, just listen to this, okay? And women just melt when hearing.
Oh, I'm no doubt that not just after hearing Jay Binkley basically for the last 10, 15 minutes. It was Bruno Martino that increased the pregnancy rate in Rochester just in the last 5 minutes. Congratulations. Thanks for listening. You're pregnant. We'll get to happy hour next on the Fan. Lots to get to from yesterday's win. It's the bye week. And, man, we're ready to celebrate on Friday with you. We'll tell you more about our Friday Football Talk live show from Three Heads Brewing on Atlantic Avenue. A lot to unpack from Jay Binkley, from Mike Catalano, who joined us last hour as well. And, of course, we have time for your calls. If you have thoughts on the Bills' win over Kansas City, feel free to reach out at 585-866-4FAN, 866-4326. We're also on Elon's Twitter. That's X, at The Fan Rochester. You can reach out to us there. We'll have more for you next for Happy Hour here on The Fan.
You're listening to the WBEE HD2 Rochester. And streaming online and in the Odyssey app at The Fan Rochester. The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. The Fan Rochester. Sports update.
The race is on for the top seed and the bye that goes along with it in the AFC postseason. Kansas City at 9-1. Buffalo at 9-2. Bills quarterback Josh Allen knows there's a good chance his team will see the Chiefs in the postseason again.
Yeah, given our history, we tend to meet in the playoffs. So, again, we're not there yet. We'll focus on that when we get there. But we got a bye week and then, tough team coming here, I believe. San Francisco coming here? Yeah, so.
Indeed, the 49ers do come to Buffalo on December the 1st. Week 11 concluding tonight, the Cowboys and Texans on Monday Night Football. Tommy DeVito back at quarterback for the New York Giants. New York hosting Tampa Bay this Saturday. Devin Levi back with the Amerks. The Sabres sending him down. Going up is Isak Rosane. The Amerks playing at Laval coming up on Wednesday. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
The game of the year lives up to the billing, and it's a happy ending for the 71,000 plus here in Orchard Park. The Bills improve to 9-2 on the season as the Chiefs get their first loss handed to them 30-21.
Mike Danger.
Well, I think it does matter because I think a lot of people would love to see this team as a 1 seed in the AFC. And if, by the way, you're the 1 seed in the AFC, chances are Josh Allen is your league MVP.
Gene Battaglia.
Well, that's right. I listen to that, too. But I still don't think they get the 1 seed, Danger. Lots can change, certainly with injuries and whatnot. But the idea you got San Francisco, the Rams, and Detroit on the road, those are tough assignments. And then you would still need the Chiefs to kind of slip up, and then you would have to be perfect.
95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
What an incredible weekend. I mean, if you're a sports fan, if you're a Rochesterian, you had a good weekend. I mean, I feel like, well, at least a good portion of the population was at Blue Cross Arena on Friday night to see Sebastian Maniscalco, because he's Italian.
Yeah, the Amerks didn't win. The RIT didn't win. So it was like, for the Bills, yes. Yeah.
Yes. Well, you're leaving the weekend. I got to imagine that you're feeling pretty good if you're a Bills fan. You're feeling pretty good if you're a Rochester. You're not feeling good if you watch the Tyson fight on Friday. That was a little depressing.
It was, I think this is what kind of the fun part of social media where like, hey, I'm not the only one having the same problems here. Come to find out, I guess Antonio Brown streamed it to 1 million people illegally on his feed.
Nice.
And that was, I guess, the workaround. Keep this in mind. If they have the problems Netflix does with streaming on Christmas Day, just use the app on your phone and cast it. That could be one.
I would imagine that with the viewership that they got and maybe the new subscribers that they picked up, that they might be able to juice their servers a little bit in time for Christmas in the NFL.
I would imagine, because who do they have to answer to for the boxing event? Really no one. You got to answer the NFL. The NFL, if
they'll hold you accountable.
Oh, yeah. No. Like, you want to air games, or either that or, okay, I know you paid for this, but congratulations, you're getting Panthers-Falcons next Christmas Day.
Anybody who went to Maniscalco knows it was a great night. It was a lot of fun. There was a moment in the evening where I conjured Gene Battaglia. We're kind of like stuck in traffic, headed to the arena. I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? Sister City's garage. I'm going to park a block and a half away. Do Sister City instead of parking close to the arena and trying to battle through all that traffic.
Now they charge for there, correct?
Yeah, we charge.
It was free, and now it's not. So.
It's fine. You know what? Totally fine with it. With my girls, and they're nervous. Oh, we want to walk downtown. It's not. I'm like, it's safe. You're fine. Look around. There's a lot of people doing the same thing we're doing. We're all walking to the arena. When we get to the arena, if you were there, it was a mass of people waiting to get into the arena. Something I haven't had to see or experience in a while. Maybe it's this way for Amerks playoff games, but they open doors early enough where I think everybody's just, hey, the show starts at 7:30. We're all going to be there right at 7:30.
Yeah.
And there was a crush of people all sandwiched in trying to get into the arena at once.
Well, I think it's a byproduct of how many people. You go to an Amerks game, chances are you're going to other games. You know the routine. You know where to park. You know everything else. which is good. Bring new people downtown. But
It was
if you
great.
Don't know, if you don't know the lay of the land there.
And everybody working the arena, everybody working the event, man, they were doing their best, doing a great job. But I felt like I was at Disney for a while because the wait was a little while. It was like, oh, wow, we're really waiting in line to get into the arena, to get to our seats. There's a line to get to our seats. Wow. And it worked out okay, but even the comedians is like, well, there are still people coming in because it was a late arriving crowd or a prompt arriving crowd. And I'll stop short of saying it felt like we aren't equipped to handle these kind of events, because we are, as a city, we are equipped to handle these kind of events. It was just noticeable to me that we were like standing in line for a while waiting to get in, and everybody was doing the best that they could for this show. And again, best reason I could give you for that is not necessarily the arena or the town that we live in. It's because it was Maniscalco, man. It's because he's Italian, Gino.
So we welcome your calls at 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Danger, I took 2 calls, but neither guy wanted to hold through the break. Okay?
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
The way to show loyalty to the sports bar, you can't give us 5 minutes of your time to be on the air? I'm calling these people cowards.
All right, well, Ricky called in.
Ricky, you coward.
No. Ricky had a point, though. I cannot stand that bleep Binkley when you put him on.
Oh.
He's always so smug. Okay. So he was actually, Binkley got Ricky riled up. The other guy, Stu, calling in, hey, you guys haven't touched on Taylor Swift. Kid you not. Travis Kelce would have played better had Taylor Swift been there. I remember when I was dating the executive producer and she would come to one of my softball games. Yeah, the caveman mentality. That's a real thing. You're a professional athlete. Like Travis Kelce would have sold out for that ball.
She needs to be there, yeah.
Come on.
She needs to be there, and he would have played better if she was up there. Word on the street is that the Kelces and Taylor didn't really enjoy their time in Buffalo back in January. That was a one-time thing. That's not. I mean, because we all kind of connected dots here. Maybe this was part of it too. That so many of us theorized that the reason why this game was on the schedule where it was is that it coincided with her Toronto dates, and it would have been convenient for her. So maybe the conscious effort was made for her to be in Nashville this weekend instead of in Buffalo.
Well, and it could have just been, hey, NFL, the free ride is up. If you want me there, then let's.
Right. I'm not going back to Buffalo for just nothing.
Nothing.
I'm not going back just to support my professional athlete, millionaire husband. We're okay.
No, I don't think
Boyfriend.
It was whatever at this point. It's a union of convenience, right?
Yeah.
Oh, who am I to question?
Right. Well, I'm sure a lot of people listening have some sort of connection to the events of Toronto from over the weekend and had a great time. Became a Swiftie. If you weren't, maybe you got converted and became a Swiftie. Maybe you went willingly. Maybe you got dragged. Whatever it is, you probably had a great experience the night of your life at Rogers Center.
Friend of ours, Danger. I don't want to mention his name. Kevin.
You just mentioned his name.
Oh, wait, I did.
Jesus.
Went up there.
Friend
was
you are.
Dancing around, happy. Look, if you love Taylor Swift,
I'm fine with it. You know what? To each their own. To each their own. And I'm sure it was a memorable night. When you were telling me about this, I thought, well, if you have kids, you're probably bringing them to this event. I can't judge. You're going to have a great night. You're going to have a memorable night. Oh, he didn't bring any kids?
Nope.
Oh. Well, I still can't judge. I still can't judge negatively.
I can't judge. I also can't judge anybody. And if you were at the game yesterday, couple things hit. Obviously, the Josh Allen touchdown run, memorable if you were in the stadium. But the Mr. Brightside song, when you know the game is wrapped up, to the person that wants to wave their finger and say that's not music. Oh, come on. Can you not see there's 70,000 people?
Who's saying that's not music? Oh, but the Bills fight song is? We're okay with that? But we're not okay with the Killers?
The Bills fight song was recorded illegally. Do you know that whole story? It's not that if you're going to cover something, the person you're covering, you have to pay.
Uh-huh.
And so this Jamo years ago with the Shout song just sent it blindly to a bunch of teams. And the Shout song, hey, this is kind of good. We don't have anything. We'll play it. No, the record label ended up calling. They took it down for a few games, and then the Bills ended up paying. Somewhere the Pacers were using it too. The Pacers won a shot. You remember we played that?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
well, look, whether it's Mr. Brightside or the shout song in the sports bar on a Victory Monday, our tradition might be a little bit unorthodox, a little bit different, but we like to class things up. You know, this is a classy establishment, the sports bar. That's why we play Bruno Martino on a Victory Monday on the Fan Rochester.
if you take a deep breath, you smell cigarette smoke.
Oh, yeah. Cigarette smoke, Aqua Velva, and Grecian formula. Maybe Brute. Now close your eyes, listen to this, and watch the replay of Josh Allen trucking dudes to get to the end zone. I mean, if you're a female listening to the show right now, you're pregnant with that thought in mind. You're welcome.
We've had now two regulars in the sports bar, Perino, who said that was weird.
Yeah.
And then Binkley, I would expect.
Perino needs to get with the program. We'll talk to him tomorrow afternoon at his normal time at 3:25. I'll ask him about it. We'll challenge him on that because I wasn't here last week to defend our decision to play Bruno Martino on a Victory Monday. But I'll challenge him on that tomorrow. Get with the program. Your last name ends in a vowel. You of all people should be behind this.
Do not know your heritage.
What are we doing? That's how we celebrate in the sports, where we class it up. What a day. What a game. And once again, the Bills get over on the Chiefs in the regular season. So I think there's cautious optimism that in the postseason, if these two teams meet again, given that you beat them by 2 scores, we know that both teams are going to look different the next time that they face each other. But if there was a takeaway for me, Gino, and I know maybe a lot of people are feeling this way, I think Sean McDermott is beginning to believe. I think Sean McDermott is beginning to actually trust that Josh Allen isn't going to put the ball in harm's way, that Joe Brady maybe knows a thing or two about calling plays on offense, and that there's enough going on with these guys where he doesn't have nobody can say Sean McDermott is too conservative. Anybody who says that isn't watching the game, because he's not, and it's paying off in a big way.
Well, I think it's an important quality for any leader, Danger. Like, how could you determine who's a good leader and who's not? Self-awareness. I think it's a good quality to have in life. I don't mean, like, you have to have confidence, but you also have to kind of know where you are and what might not work here. And, Sean McDermott didn't have the self-awareness, one time when using a terrible analogy, to his team in training camp. Now we've moved past that. But he's also not self-aware enough after 13 seconds not to accept any of the blame. When all the blame should have been him. It's your team. You're responsible ultimately for this. And if you can't execute, then get players who can. Or put somebody else in. So we've seen this evolution of McDermott here where, yes, he's becoming more self-aware to the point where, all right, trusting Josh Allen, McDermott, true or false, Danger, in years past would have kicked the field goal.
I think he did a really good job after the game of explaining the decision. This is Sean McDermott yesterday.
We mapped it out during the week and felt strongly that that was the right decision. I don't want to be resulting, if you will, but would have stood by it if it didn't work out. Just felt like, there's been too many games, as you guys know, where Andy and Patrick have come back and you kick a field goal and they go score a touchdown, or it's overtime, just in different games where they've been and they get the ball first and the game's, so they're just way too good to not go for it right there. And, so every situation's a little bit different, but felt confident.
They're just way too good to not go for it there. That's progress. That's him recognizing.
Self-awareness.
That's him recognizing, hey, these a-holes from Kansas City have gotten over on us too many times because we didn't finish it. Let's finish it. Let's finish it. There's a scene in The Matrix. I love The Matrix. You remember The Matrix? where do you ever watch The Matrix?
I'll
to the list.
I'll add to the list.
All right. Well, if you've watched The
He's
Matrix,
dodging bullets or whatever.
you know there's a scene where Morpheus is like looking at Neo, the chosen one, and they're all looking at Morpheus like, what's he doing? What's he doing? And Morpheus just kind of like calmly says, he's beginning to believe. And you're believing now, if you're Sean McDermott, that you actually have the guys that will do it the way you want. You have trust. You have belief. I love that he went for it. I love that they were aggressive. Now, we went for it earlier in the game. It led to a miscommunication between Knox and Allen and an interception. But defensively, they got after it. Defensively, they did a good job in containing the weapons that the Chiefs had. They got pressure on Mahomes. And Kansas City's offensive line could be half.
That is a concern, and that it gives you a little bit of hope that maybe this could be the same in terms of an outcome when these two teams face. I don't know if you're Kansas City how you fix that. You're talking about calling some guy back or moving Tooney from the inside to the outside. None of this is good when you're entering December if you're Kansas City and you can't figure out the offensive line. But as Jay Binkley pointed out, this was a Chiefs team that was written off after Christmas Day, losing to the Raiders and everything else.
I don't think there's nobody, well, maybe except for Luke, who called us in the first hour, that's writing off the Chiefs. I think if you watch this game enough, if you watch these teams enough, you know better than to say Patrick Mahomes is overrated or washed or this is it. Allen's always been better. No, and you can't write them off. And you have to know that if they do face off against each other in January, it's going to be a battle, just like it was yesterday. And yes, you win by 2 scores, but it was tight. And nobody was comfortable until Allen ripped off that final touchdown. And that touchdown, I think, is significant. And hearing Josh Allen explain what went into the decision to tuck and run on that play, I think opens up my mind to what he might be looking at here in terms of the Steve Spagnuolo defense that Kansas City employs.
4th and 2. Appreciate Coach for trusting us. Really had a play for man. Could have checked out of it, but they held a pretty good man look. They dropped out into zone. Again, just trying to create and keep the play alive. There was a crease and just trusted the feet. Yeah, it's a man concept where Khalil, if there's a man on the left side, we fly the back, try to create some eye candy, if you will, run him through the line. It's just like a mesh play. And again, they went zone, so just made a play. Anytime you give the ball back to Pat and that offense, down 6 with the game on the line, I'll tell you what, they like their odds in that situation. So wanting to get 6 or 7 to try to make it a 2-score game, and our defense bowed up there at the end, and a heck of a play by TB.
What he explains there, I think, is significant. This is Josh Allen, and we've always said, like, this team will go as far as Josh Allen will take them as long as he makes the right decision, recognizing that they had a man look, that they dropped out of man, went to zone, and he has to recognize that as soon as the ball is snapped, look and see they got Shakir. I mean, defensively, the Chiefs did everything right on that play. Schematically, it was set up exactly the way they wanted it to be set up, and it took away Shakir. And Allen had to make the decision in a moment to go for it. And he did, and it worked. Kansas City dialed up the right play. Allen recognized it, made the right decision, touchdown, MVP favorite.
You watch this play, you're going to notice Ty Johnson is wide open to the flat to the left too. But I'm fine with that. Allen's like, okay, do I really want to check it down or do I want to make a play here? So him just stepping up the way he did. The other thing as far as an adjustment, and I hadn't really watched this until this week, the show that's on CW, the one with Belichick and Chad Ocho Cinco Johnson.
Inside the NFL.
Yeah, it's fantastic where Belichick is going over the film of these Chiefs-Bills matchups and the idea that the Chiefs always were using a spy. Where's the spy on that? Yeah, I would think you wouldn't want to do that next time with Josh Allen. Everyone in the stadium knew that was going to be the play. Sure, spread it out. You're going to let Josh Allen. I didn't think it was going to go for 26 yards. I'm thinking Josh Allen kind of runs it ahead. And, at the very least, danger, I'm thinking get another first down, and then maybe you kick a field goal, but you're not leaving that much time up yesterday.
Yeah.
And just to have the relief and the excitement and everybody else. Can I compare one thing? The excitement of that to the, hey, opening drive, and the kick is up, and it's no good. Dun, 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 dun. Oh,
everybody's kind of sour. I think that would be, if they had not won, we would be talking a lot of Tyler Bass today. But maybe not just Tyler Bass. Maybe just the NFL as a whole has a kicking problem, because it's not just Bass who's struggled this year. I mean, brand name kickers, Justin Tucker missing multiple kicks. McPherson last night missing multiple kicks.
Good. I'm not rooting for guys to fail, but, like, honestly, like, we don't tune in to watch kickers. You want to see touchdowns. And maybe this is something you file away, because I think we all kind of recognize, okay, can you get through this year with Tyler Bass and then go spend a 7th-round pick or whatever it is? Well, you're going to have other teams thinking similarly here. Yeah, like Baltimore. Oh, they need to start thinking about drafting a kicker. What happened in Cincinnati last night, or in Los Angeles with the Bengals there?
Yeah.
McPherson missing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of finger-pointing going on for a team that's kind of circling the drain now, and a team that showed a lot of fight in the second half of that game. The Chargers were charging that game. They had control of that game in the first half, and they kind of let it slip through their fingers. Cincinnati gets back in the game. McPherson can't hit any of his kicks. And so their best efforts wasted on the leg of a kicker who can't convert from 50-plus yards. And we hear a lot about that. 50 is the new 40. And that 50-plus yarders are easy for these NFL kickers. Not so fast. I mean, it really, maybe we've put a little bit too much into that, into the strength of the leg of some of these guys, because the accuracy hasn't been there. And I think we would be talking a lot of Tyler Bass today. Had the Bills not won, like, we got a Bass problem. He can't hit his extra points. You got to hit your extra points. But in the symphony of that game, don't you get the sense that bad note maybe set up the crescendo at the end? That was the reason why on 4th and 2, Sean McDermott's like, yeah, a field goal here is something. It makes it a 5-point game and not a 2-point game. It forces them to have to score a touchdown.
That soundbite, you're not buying it. Like, somewhere in the back of his mind, he's thinking, I don't trust my kicker.
I mean, maybe it has to weigh in.
It's a factor.
It has to weigh into your decision. You know, is Bass going to hit this? If we who do I trust more in this situation? It's not my kicker. It's my quarterback. God, I loved it. It was great. Fantastic ending. And then, of course, it ends on the interception by Terrell Bernard. So, you know, having Terrell Bernard back in this game against this team, against this offense, I think was significant. And Terrell Bernard sharing what the mindset of the team is now going into their bye week.
I think it gives us an opportunity to go back and correct some things after a win, which is always good. And then, you know, physically kind of take a breath, get your legs back underneath you, get some things cleaned up, you know, just physically get away from it for a little bit, which is good at this time of the year. And then come back with a fresh mind, fresh spirit, fresh soul, and, you know, get back to work.
Hey, none of these guys are staying in Western New York, right? They're all they're all headed for Florida or
I think the guys that have been here long enough maybe remember all too well 2 years ago, just 2 years ago.
Just 2 years ago.
The town getting absolutely dumped on and them having to move a game to Detroit against the Browns.
It was 2 games in 5 days in Detroit, because then you played on Thanksgiving Day, and then you would have an even worse snowstorm on Christmas Eve there. Right, yeah, they're going to all take advantage of it. McDermott talking today didn't really give you much in terms of an update about these guys that are injured. And, well, by rule of the CBA, these guys are not in the facility this week. So that means it's a week off. We're going to see Josh Allen popping up. I mean, maybe these guys go to an NBA game. You've earned it. All these teams have earned it. I'm not saying stay in town. Yeah,
no question.
Go have a good time.
So the Bills moved to 9-2, and now with the Chiefs at 9-1, and you look at the schedule down the stretch here, you have a pathway. You need some things to fall your way, and you obviously have to win your games, but you have a pathway to the number 1 seed, something that the Bills haven't had during the Allen regime.
One thing Andy Reid said that kind of jumped out to me, it was almost like he was saying something like McDermott. Do you want to say what impressed him yesterday?
McDermott?
No, Andy Reid. No, we don't have the cut here.
Okay.
Because I kind of listened into the Andy Reid press conference. He was talking about his place kicker, how he did a great job and everything else, and da-da-da. You made 3 extra points. Oh, wait a second. They need him the next 3 weeks. Okay, this is Andy Reid going way out of his way to pump the tires of his new place kicker.
It's good. Fine. I have no problem with that. As a head coach, I think you have to do that. And if you got to build up his confidence because you're going to need him, that's fine. One thing I will disagree with with Jay Binkley, who believes that the Chiefs don't have enough weapons. I think they have too many weapons. I think they don't know how to find one that they can trust with any sort of regularity. And you could say it's Kelsey, but
Okay, what weapons do they have that are good and can help you win championships? Juju at this point? No. Okay, the number 2 tight end.
Gino, they completed passes to 11 different receivers. 11 different receivers, including a lineman. But did you really get to what you wanted when your leading receiver, the only player who broke 30 yards receiving, was Xavier Worthy?
So, couple thoughts on that. One, Worthy on that one. All his catches came on that one drive.
Yeah.
All on the one drive. 10-yard. I'm like, okay, this is Andy Reid with the double bird going,
look at my toy.
What happened after the drop, though? Not to drop, the stepping out of bounds when you shouldn't have. Mahomes didn't trust him, or they didn't dial it up, or whatever it is. They never went back to Worthy. So that's one thing they've got to work on. Can Worthy figure this out and get right when it matters most? I'm also going to give a lot of credit to the Bills' defense, okay? DeAndre Hopkins did have a nice catch. He also had one that any other year, because he's so tall and strong, would pull down. Christian Bedford said, and I loved it. It was just a simple incompletion, but you know what? That made a big difference. The one thing I will agree on, Binkley, hey, did Travis Kelce play poorly because his girlfriend wasn't there, or because the fact that he was actually bracketed and they were paying attention to him? Or maybe he's just like, whatever, this is just a regular season game. I don't know what it was, but Kelce wasn't a factor. If you have those 3 guys in concert, this is what's going to be different, Danger. Like, just where you're saying spread it around, don't spread it around. Go to your A talent.
Yeah. Find your guys.
Yeah.
And maybe it changes. Maybe bringing Pacheco, maybe if Hollywood Brown plays in the postseason, maybe that is a good thing if you figure out how to actually use everything that you have. And their touchdown drive late in the game showed that they can still move the ball. I mean, they moved it with urgency when they needed to. The days of them having an elite defense, I don't know. The Bills feel like they unlocked something there. And they're going to have to start scoring more points than they did in yesterday's loss to the Buffalo Bills. So, man, for me going into the weekend thinking, it's going to be a race to 20 points. If the Bills can get 20 points, they can probably win this game, but I don't know that they're getting to 20 points. It was really the Bills being consistent on offense, getting to 30 points again. And now when you look at the rest of their schedule, you have one team that is above 500 the rest of the way out for the Buffalo Bills.
No, that's absolutely true. But the 49ers is a 500 team. You don't think they're going to come in?
Seattle beat the Niners. Seattle. Do you remember that team?
San Francisco, yeah.
You remember that team, right? That was just a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if much has changed there. It's still Geno Smith. I think maybe DK Metcalf was back. Maybe that's the difference maker.
Something's off there. Now, we've seen this out of the Niners before, too, where they fart around and all of a sudden they're going to hit the switch.
Yeah.
But if we were – we don't have to do that this week because that game is in 2 weeks and the Niners have a game in between. But who do the Niners have this week? They go to Green Bay. Oh, okay. That's the late – oh, okay. So we're all going to watch this game together.
I won't. Green Bay sucks.
I'm sorry, dude. I felt I wasn't going to text you. I would have met.
Oh, I
see
appreciate
people. I saw people. I'm like, don't tweet at Danger directly.
Oh, you can. It's fine. I'm fine. It doesn't affect me. I mean, why would it affect me? I'm just devoting my Sunday afternoon, eating and drinking my feelings away. Yeah, the Niners are going to be an interesting thing to watch here this upcoming weekend, and it's going to be, look, them coming to Buffalo is going to be a lot of fun. But Sean McDermott coming out of the bye, the team playing the way that they're playing right now with their hair on fire, winners of, what do we got now? 6 straight?
5 games in a row scoring 30 points. That did the unexpected yesterday. I'm watching, okay, time possession, run. This game's going to go over. Nope! It went over. I mean, it was going to go under. It went over in the end.
Well, we have plenty of time to talk about that, and we will talk about it. It is the bye week, so Bills news will be at a premium this week. But come Friday, when we're ready for the weekend and we're heading into the holiday week, that is Thanksgiving, don't you just want to kick back, relax, enjoy a cold one with your your friends here in the sports bar, we're inviting you to Friday Football Talk Live. We're doing the show live Friday afternoon from 3 until 6 at Three Heads Brewing on Atlantic Avenue in the neighborhood of the Arts.
Fantastic. As Chris Trapasso, CBS Sports, will be stopping by. The Rochester Nighthawks are stopping by. So we've teamed up with them. They've teamed up with Three Heads, where they have their Nighthawk Hazy IPA. And so if you're a big Hawks fan or you just love Rochester sports, they're accessible. As far as pro athletes that you can go up and talk and rap with, the Nighthawks are right near the top of the list. So it was a great event last year. We're doing it again, running it back. But this year, again, heading into Thanksgiving week, it couldn't have timed out any better here, Danger. We're just going to have a great show on Friday, and we invite you out. I'm just hoping the Sprucifer is going to be ready, too.
It's many choices.
Yeah.
I mean, the Leaping Hazy is fantastic. The Sprucifer is one of my favorites. You mentioned the Nighthawks Hazy IPA. I mean, am I trying all three? Yes. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Friday afternoon, 3 until 6.
We can share a cold one and maybe a win or two.
Let's get to a round of shots next in the sports bar.
By the way, I did get a question from Monica. Are you guys going to hang out afterward? High school football is concluded.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hey, congratulations to all the winning programs.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. But Friday, after the show is over, we'll hang out a little bit.
No question.
Yeah.
I'm ready. Round of shots next.
Yeah, we will talk a little high school football, the Amherst, and hey, what's heading over to ESPN? Good move here. And Danger, this was something you missed here. The ultimate football guy thing from Wright in Syracuse. Fran Brown. Oh, you missed this whole thing.
I must have.
We'll give him some soap. We'll explain.
Okay, we'll get to that. A round of shots on the way. And we have time for your calls. For last call before we wrap up at 6, you can join us and have the final say in the sports bar at 585-866-4FAN, 866-4326.
95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan Rochester weekday mornings. Then let the sports banter make your alarm clock look like a bad idea. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
9-2. The last time the Buffalo Bills were at 9-2, the year was 1992. That was year 3 of the 4-year Super Bowl run. And now it's the bye week. Steve Tasker today on One Bills Live says it comes at a good time.
So right now, the Bills, man, what a perfect time for a bye week. They got a chance to get an entire wave of guys back off the injured list for the San Francisco game in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Week 11 concluding tonight. It's the Cowboys and Texans on Monday Night Football. The New York Football Giants going back to Tommy Cutlets. Tommy DeVito at quarterback, benching Daniel Jones. Giants hosting Tampa Bay this Saturday. Sabres sending down Devin Levi. Up to Buffalo goes Isak Rosane. The Amerks play at Laval on Wednesday. Sports is brought to you by GetMyPerks.com. Save half off to Lasertron in Henrietta. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester.
The only way to take the Fan Rochester with you is the free Odyssey app. Download it today and follow the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
All right, let's pick up anything that we may have forgotten here. What slipped through the cracks? It's time for a round of shots.
Well, this certainly fell through the cracks, Danger, and I can't blame anybody if they missed this. The Amerks played at the same time as the Chiefs. No. Bills game yesterday. Marley's won in overtime, so it was a loser point and a loser point, but then if you kind of add it up, it's like you split the weekend, which is the way math works in hockey, I suppose. The Amerks at Laval tomorrow and Wednesday. Head coach Mike Leone joining us in the sports bar tomorrow. I'm sure he's pleased with Devin Levi. I mean, the Sabres saying loaned. No. That's a euphemism. Nobody says they're sent down anymore, okay? He's been sent down. I sat next to Paul Hamilton yesterday up in Buffalo and just kind of asked him about it. He's like, no, Levi needs to be in Rochester. He needs to play. Not playing in Buffalo is not doing him any good.
Agreed 100%. And for as good as Hauser has been, Hauser is he's an AHL goaltender.
He's an AHL goaltender that would be really good in the ECHL. He's bounced between the two. I mean, I give him credit at 31. Look, you have a spot on this team,
and
my
a good
friend.
start to the season, and maybe Levi can learn from a guy who's been at it as long as he's been at it. But more than anything, let's just get him some reps. Let's get him out there because he's getting peppered at the NHL level, and he's not ready for it.
Well, the one team that may have played their way out of the college football playoff is BYU. The Cougars falling at home to Kansas. And even though BYU is 9-1, they dropped to 13th in the new AP poll. Danger, here's the question. I'm sure this is going to be a debate here. What do you do with Army? They're now 9-0. They're coming off a bye, and this is a game we're all going to be paying attention to this week. They play number 6 Notre Dame. That'll be Saturday night on ABC. Now, if Notre Dame wins that, it's not relevant, but if Army beats a top 10 team and wins out, they're in, right? Here's the thing. The announcement for the playoff field actually comes on December 8th. Army-Navy is after on December 14th.
Well, I think we could have the debate now, but I think it's silly to have the debate now because the odds are they're going to lose on Saturday. And then if they win on Saturday, now we've got something to talk about. They beat Notre Dame? Yeah, they're probably in there. What do you do with the Army-Navy game? I don't know. Does it matter? They're in. You make the announcement and they're in. Undefeated, beat a top 10 program, and it's.
But then but what I'm saying is like you put them in, but then you run the risk of, oh my gosh, they lost the Navy. What is this team doing here? They didn't. Notre Dame is okay. You want to guess the line for this?
Tell me.
14.5 Irish on Saturday. Yeah. So
I mean, it feels like a game that Notre Dame should be able to win with relative ease. If you're a team that wants to be considered a national title contender, and Notre Dame always considers themselves a national title contender, you don't lose to Army.
Netflix put out a press release saying they had 65 million tune in for the Tyson-Jake Paul fight, which may have been true, Danger, but it was a technical S show.
Oh, it was bad.
Many faced buffering and quality issues with the stream like this was the year 2006. Even the mic of Jerry Jones went out. Awful Announcing got a hold of an internal email Netflix sent out to their employees, which read in part, we don't want to dismiss the poor experience for some of our members, and we know we have room for improvement, but we consider this a huge success.
Yeah, of course they consider it a huge success. Look at the bottom line. They made a boatload of money. They probably gained a ton of new subscribers. From what I understood, the buffering issues weren't occurring on mobile devices. So if you're watching it on your phone, Netflix can handle that. But I think it's probably like if you're talking about,
casting.
Casting it.
And it's like, and it was the initial days of casting. Like, but I realized, wait a second, this isn't me. It was like a little red circle.
Right. It was funny,
there.
man. I mean, like, it brought you back to, I think a lot of us remember that first London game that Yahoo tried to broadcast between the Bills and the Jags. Remember, it was a streaming exclusive. It was the Bills and the Jags, and we all logged on to Yahoo, and man, it was a miserable experience. It was really tough to watch because it would buffer and the picture wasn't clear. And
it would to this day. So we've been doing the CMF watch parties for how many years now, right? And we're every Sunday at the tap room at Bill Gray's in Chilai. This is going back before we were hooked up. Then we were in another place. Danger, you couldn't move in that place because everybody at home wanted to watch the Bills. They couldn't watch the Bills, and but it was up on DirecTV at that point, so like you could actually go in. But yeah, I do remember that morning.
That fight was sad. It was sad. I mean, I'm out with some of the guys in the neighborhood and their wives, and we're enjoying a meal after Maniscalco on Friday night at the local watering hole, and they smartly have the fights on, and we're watching it, and like the undercard was great. I mean, it's like the women boxing before Paul and Tyson.
That's what I heard, yeah.
It was just an amazing fight. It was just great boxing. And then you get to this fight, and it's like, okay, is anybody going to do anything? I mean, it was depressing.
Two guys. He's old. He's
58. That's what made it depressing.
And also,
you want to see a guy who you think is immortal, Iron Mike. You want to see him throw a punch. He didn't throw a punch.
Who thought it was a good idea to say, camera 2, put up right now Mike Tyson's ass?
We can get away with that because we're Netflix. They can't get away with that on broadcast TV. The FCC would have something to say about it. Let's create a viral moment out of this. If we're going to get anything out of it, let's create a viral moment. There it is, the champ's ass.
Yeah, and to anybody who posted that out without a warning on social, shame on you. Like, hey, you didn't ask me. It was like, oh.
There you go.
Thanks.
Merry Christmas.
Content that didn't ask for and I didn't necessarily want. Aquinas lost in the regular season in football to Fairport and McQuaid, yet the Little Irish are back on top in Class AA thanks to a convincing win over RH. Other winners included Brighton. The Bruins remain undefeated after their win over Canandaigua. Eastridge was winless in 2023. Now they're the champs of Class B after their win over Batavia.
That's amazing. I love that story. Brighton, a big win over Canandaigua, and yeah, I got a chance to see Aquinas Week 8 against Hilton, and they looked like they were playing their best football of the season. They were peaking at the right time. So I guess to see them win Class AA isn't too much of a surprise to me, but it sets up for another great fall in 2025 with all of these programs. They're all kind of young programs.
Yeah.
Like RH is a young program. Aquinas is fairly young. Like these it's going to be fun to watch. McQuaid, young program this year.
Something good came out of the Warner Brothers TNT lawsuit against the NBA. Brought a settlement. The settlement will allow Inside the NBA to continue to air on ESPN beginning next season.
Oh.
So the show will be still produced by TNT, still taking place out of Atlanta. Everything's going to look the same. They're just going to make money by exporting it over to ESPN. The settlement gives TNT, Bleacher Report, and House of Highlights a license for NBA content with no rights fees for 11 years.
So help me God if they try to wedge Stephen A. into this show. Leave it alone. Don't do it.
I don't think they can, Danger.
I hope they can't.
No,
I hope it doesn't happen.
I can't think of another parallel to this where you're going to be tuning on ESPN and like, wait, am I watching TNT where it's coming from the TNT set? It'll be the 4 guys. But the NBA knew they had to do something here. So thank you to the lawyers, Sal Rosenberg, everybody for getting this done.
Yes, I wanted to sue David Stern, but he passed away. He was very mean to me. He threw me down the stairs. I lost my shoes. My glasses fell off. And if Stephen A. is on the set, I'm going to have a word with him. He was very, very mean to me. He called me short. And he threw me down the stairs, and I fell on my ass pipe. Oh.
Have you ever been to Galveston, Stu?
Galveston, Texas? I like Galveston, yes, but they think that the beach is there. It's dirty water. You can't go swimming. I once went swimming in Galveston, and I went to the bathroom, and there was bad, awful things after I went to the bathroom after going to the beach at Galveston. I wish I'm going to sue Charles Barkley. He didn't give me fair warning about Galveston. Suing everybody. Punitive damages.
Finally, an update on Syracuse football coach Fran Brown. Now, we like Fran Brown, right? Danger, this happened while you were out. Terrible take, Timmy, and I had some fun with this revelation that following a loss, Fran Brown disclosed that he doesn't shower. I don't deserve soap. I don't deserve to do that at all. There's a process I follow every week. Yeah. Well, happy to report that Syracuse held on at Cal 33-25, and Brown got to shower.
My hat's off to them again, man. They are just a really good football team. And like I told you, it was going to go into the fourth quarter. No because question. That's what the ACC is. It's all about creating greatness here, you know?
I dig it, Coach. Enjoy your shower, all right, baby?
Yeah, I'm about to get washed.
I know that's...
Winners get washed.
Winners get washed. There we go.
I kind of dig it. I kind of like it.
That is like the most football coach thing, right? Like I pride. Like
I don't deserve it. I don't deserve the soap. Winners get washed. All right, very good.
Doesn't your wife have anything to say about that? Like
you didn't see his wife. It's football season.
Oh, yeah. Fair enough.
Let's take a break and come back with last call at 866-4326. You can have the final say in the sports bar, 585-866-4FAN.
You're listening to the Sports Bar.
Welcome back to We the Hobby. You know what time it is? A little something special today. Oh, Nick.
Is that a corn?
That ain't no corn.
What?
That's a super corn!
Oh, wow.
Visit us at 23 Arlington Street in Rochester.
Chaser, you're in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia on the sports leader 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Victory Monday in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia made sweeter when we invite Jay Binkley in from 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City. Take his medicine. Mike Catalana, 13 Wham Sports. Buffalo Plus also stop by if you missed either conversation. You can find us wherever you get your shows, wherever you get your podcasts. Search out the sports bar. And our preferred platform is, of course, the free-to-download Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. Tomorrow on the show.
Pack show once again. Mike Leone going to join us by phone because they're on their way up to suburban Montreal taking on Laval, the head coach of the Rochester Americans. Matt Perino, Syracuse Post-Standard, as we head to the bye, as we look at, who might actually come back on the other end here in terms of the injured guys for Buffalo. And we'll talk some fantasy as Michael F. Florio, NFL Network, also in the 4 o'clock hour tomorrow.
Having a nice fantasy weekend. I hope it stays. I have an opportunity. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Nobody cares. I have an opportunity to go undefeated in all my fantasy leagues, which for me, when that happens, it's just a thing of glory. So,
well, if it's glory, then just play yourself some Bruno Martino.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll go home, just fire up a little Bruno, pour a glass of brown, kick my feet up, light a victory cigar, and come back and do it again tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock here in the sports bar. We appreciate you listening. Thanks to everybody who checked out the stream, our YouTube channel, The Fan Rochester. While you're there, like, subscribe, leave a comment, put a little wind in the sails. Also, our stream on Twitch at The Fan Rochester. And you hear us where we sound our best, the free-to-download Odyssey app. Big thanks to Mike Hedlund and Jay Binkley for stopping by. Seriously, as the Bills move to 9-2 with their victory over the Kansas City Chiefs in Orchard Park yesterday. JR Sport Brief on the way next on The Fan Rochester.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester. Bills, Sabres, Amerks, all on your favorite sports station.